one more time for our host families, Maureen Rizzo and Yvonne and David Cook. Fans, as I mentioned, it's Fan Appreciation Day, and it's all made possible by our friends at Coca-Cola. We'll be offering a very special mystery prize, one per inning, to lucky fans in attendance. Make sure to sign up before first pitch if you want to be eligible to win. And we'll also be handing out some DreamWorks samples to those fans exiting the ballpark. With this in mind, we want to acknowledge our friend from Coke, Mr. Mike Riley, joined by his family, Abby and Joey Riley. Mike is Coca-Cola District Sales Manager, and they'll all be throwing out our first pitch for Long Island Duck catcher, Anthony Sirianni, accompanied by manager Wally Backman. Who's up first? Go ahead, Abby. Abby's up first, giving it a toss. Go ahead, Abby. Oh, yes. A cannon on Abby. Go ahead, Joey. Oh, man, yes, indeed. The whole family. Mike, you got a lot of pressure now. Come on, Mike. Give it a toss. Oh, man, that's a strike. Brilliant. Fans, that's not all. It's Fan Appreciation Day, and we are honored to be joined by a very special fan who purchased tickets on the very opening day of individual ticket sales. We want to acknowledge her here today. We have Haley Kahn, accompanied by her mom, Michelle. She's going to be throwing out yet another first pitch to Anthony Sirianni. Haley, give it a toss. Hey, all right. Way to go, my friends. Enjoy the game.
Welcome, fans. Just about 10 minutes away from the first pitch in this ball game between the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Long Island Ducks. It's the rubber match of a 3-game set between these two teams, as the Blue Crabs only have 4 remaining games in the regular season. Blue Crabs play the rubber match tonight. They'll play 3 in Lancaster. If the Blue Crabs win any of the next 4 games, they will clinch the best record in Blue Crabs history. The most wins in Blue Crabs history, I should specify. The Blue Crabs have already clinched the best winning percentage in Blue Crabs history. Southern Maryland currently at 82-45. The all-time Blue Crabs record is 82-57. Well, Southern Maryland turns to Daryl Thompson tonight. Thompson with the best numbers among qualifiers, who are best qualified starting pitcher, I should say, in ERA, in WHIP, also has the most wins, the most innings pitched, and top 10 in strikeouts. The list of awards just keeps on growing for Daryl Thompson. He is at a bare minimum strongly in the conversation for pitcher of the year. I think he has to be a strong favorite at this point. I'd be surprised if it goes to anyone else. The Blue Crabs will go to Thompson today. They'll go with Mitch Lamson tomorrow, and from there, Blue Crabs will go to Eddie Butler for Game 2 against Lancaster, and then we'll see Alcis Herrera for the final time in the regular season at Lancaster. Well, let's run you through the Blue Crabs lineup tonight. It's Jack Sundberg who will start in left field. Michael Wolanski bats second. He's at second base. So the right fielder, it's not Braxton Lee, it's Jared Walker tonight. He's in the 3 spot, while David Harris is the cleanup hitter. Joe DeLuca back in the 5 spot tonight. It's Joe DeLuca who will be at first base, while Zach Collier bats 6th. He's in center field. Santiago Chirino, He's at third base tonight. He bats 7th, while Ryan Haug is doing the catching and bats 8th. Michael Baca is in the 9th spot tonight. He is the shortstop for Southern Maryland. Now for the starting lineup for the Long Island Ducks, it's Phil Caulfield who leads things off. He's at second base. L.J. Mazzilli, the designated hitter, is the bats second, I should say. Alejandro De Aza bats third. He's the center fielder. Davidson Romero is the cleanup hitter tonight. He is at third base. While Jose Sermo bats fifth. He is at first base. The 6th hitter is Carlos Castro tonight, while Vladimir Frias bats 7th. He's at shortstop. Dustin Woodcock in the lineup. He bats 8th, while the 9 hitter is Matt Chamberlain. We had a chance earlier today to catch up with the Blue Crabs second baseman, Michael Wolanski. We talked a lot about the final games of the season, his recent success at the plate as he was 2 for 3 last night. We are back from Fairfield Properties Ballpark just ahead of Game 3 of this 3-game set, the rubber match between the Blue Crabs and the Ducks. And we're joined by Michael Wolanski. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Michael, let's jump in with last night's ball game. The Blue Crabs pull off a win, and it was in large part due to the first inning effort. The team put up 6 big runs.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't think I've ever been a part of something like that where all 9 hitters in a row get hits. So that was pretty cool. Being one of the only guys who gotten out in that inning, that was a little stressful in my second at bat, but that was really cool, and it's always good to get off to a hot start, especially for Merrithew. Let him get a little cushion and him be able to go out and attack hitters. So it was a good start for sure.
Another crazy part of that inning was that 4 consecutive batters had RBI singles. You almost made it 5 consecutive there in your second at bat.
Yeah, crazy. I didn't even know that stat until right now. But I don't know. It was just a crazy inning, real special inning, and it's cool to see everybody string together that kind of I guess hit streak. It was pretty cool.
Well, you got a hit in the first inning. You had another hit later in the ball game. You reached base 4 times. Do things seem to be clicking right now at the plate?
Yeah, I was seeing it well last night. It's a good confidence booster. I needed that. I hadn't gotten a hit in a while. But we'll just try and roll off of that, and hopefully I'll be seeing it well tonight.
Blue Crabs put up 8 runs in Game 1. You had 7 runs last night. The Bats seem to be coming along as a whole after a bit of a low spell there for about a week.
Yeah, I think, you go through good stretches and bad stretches, and, I know everyone's up there battling. No one really gives away any at-bats, even when we're going bad. So I think, just good stretches, bad stretches. We've been hitting a lot of balls hard right at people, and last night they finally started to fall. So I think that's good going forward, and it'll be a nice little confidence boost going into the playoffs.
You got one game here. It's the rubber match of a 3-game set, but I actually want to fast forward a little bit into that Lancaster series. You have 3 games on the road in Lancaster, and is it sort of a tune-up before you get that divisional series 2 days later?
I guess you could call it that. It's going to be interesting because, we'll see some of their starters, which I'm sure we'll see in the playoffs also, and they'll see some of ours. So, we've both played each other a lot this year. We kind of know what each team has. So, I think if nothing else, it'll be a little precursor to the playoffs, and I hope the same atmosphere in these next 3 games rolls straight into the playoffs because it'll be a lot of fun.
What's the mentality then for first this regular season set and then going into the playoffs there?
Regular season set, obviously, ideally, we always go out to win. We want to win no matter what, which that's what we're going to try to do. But if for whatever reason we don't, we'll be ready to go in the playoffs. And if nothing else, they'll, maybe get a little cocky. And if not, we'll try and get ahead early and win these next 3 games. And then going into the playoffs, hopefully their confidence will be down. So one of the two.
Speaking of wins, the Blue Crabs just tied their all-time record for most wins in a season yesterday with 82. They can break that record tonight, and I guess if they don't get it done tonight, across that 3-game series with Lancaster. It's a pretty big accomplishment for this ball club.
Yeah, for sure. We've been working really hard every day, so it's really cool to see that pay off, and no doubt in my mind we'll get it. If not, hopefully break it by 4 games. So we'll see tonight, but we're definitely excited about that.
The Blue Crabs' former record was set back in 2010. They played a lot more games. They were 82-57. This team, 82-45. So a significantly better record there. Well, let's jump into our next section. It is the Your Opinion section, Mike. And let's talk about an MLB potential expansion. We want to move outside of the U.S. We want to move outside of Canada. There's a team in Toronto, but let's go somewhere else. Where is the country or city that this new MLB club is ending up in?
Let's see, a couple I could name. I'd say probably Dominican Republic. So any of those Central American countries, really, baseball's really big over there, and we get a lot of players from over there. Other than that, I'd say probably somewhere over in Japan and Korea. They got some really good professional baseball leagues over there. So I'd say any of the above would be a good expansion league for the MLB.
It might be a little tough with the travel time over in Korea and Japan. I think that's probably, a 10-hour flight. But, I mean, future travel, maybe you can make that work.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we'll see what that entails. But I think it would be cool to kind of see other countries, other cultures. I think it would be cool, and it would grow the game. So I think it might be hard logistically, but it would be worth it, in my opinion.
Ryan Haug said, let's grow it into Europe. He wanted to go to London. Is that realistic, or is that a no-go for you?
I could see London. That's good. I don't know how big baseball is over there. That's the only problem. Right. I think soccer's got it beat in that country, but we'll see. I don't know.
Great Britain, of course. Speaking of London, the few former Blue Crabs, a couple current Blue Crabs are playing in Great Britain right now for the World Baseball Classic. You got Alex Crosby, Raul Shah still on the team. Mackenzie Mills was with us earlier, and then Kent Blackstone here last year. It's kind of cool to see them playing on the international stage.
Absolutely. It's awesome. And, I mean, I have all the confidence in the world in every one of them. They're going to go out there and compete, and I'm excited for them because, I mean, that's a really cool opportunity. They get to see another part of the world and obviously play. So good for them, and I'm hoping they do well.
Yeah, their first game is tomorrow morning, so wish them the best of luck. One last question here for you, Mike. It's about the future of the MLB calendar. We talked about this with a few other guys. How many games should that MLB season be? I mean, there's some people who say let's increase viewership, and to increase viewership and get more fans, especially young fans in the game, you have to shorten the season to 100 games, maybe 120. Other people say no, it's got to stay at 162. We've even heard from some players in this team who say no, let's go to 200 games. What's the magic number?
That's tough. I wouldn't say 200. That's a lot. I know that fans probably want less games. That would probably attract more. But I think you also can't go too few because you got to get players at bats. And, I mean, they got to be seeing pitching consistently or else hitters are going to be behind. So I'd say maybe 10 less games, 15 max.
Fair enough. The other thing that people are saying is that, well, you don't get to see some players every day. You got guys, even some superstars, who take a few days off over the course of the year. If you have more off days mixed in, they don't take those off days during, game days. They play every day, and that might be a bit of an advantage.
Definitely. I mean, definitely for ticket sales for fans. I mean, I know it's always tough when fans go to a game and one of the best players isn't playing. So, I mean, definitely would help with getting those players to play every single night, and more off days are going to lead to more rest. So, I mean, I definitely see the positive in that for sure.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike. Thanks for joining us on the pregame show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Got to hear a little bit from Michael Wolanski and where he thinks the new MLB team should go. Let us know in the YouTube chat where you think a new MLB ball club should be. We'll give you the numbers now on the Blue Crabs starting pitcher. It's Daryl Thompson who will face off against Chris Cepeda. Starting with Daryl Thompson, who comes in with a 14-4 record, not to mention a 3.49 ERA, which leads among qualified starters. And the record and the ERA not it. The whip also stands at 1.09. He did struggle a little bit his last time out, went 6 innings, allowing 9 hits, 5 runs, including 3 home runs. But the start prior, 9 innings, a complete game shutout, 2 hits, he walked 1, and struck out 4 in just 106 pitches. Meanwhile, he'll face off against Chris Cepeda, who is 5-1 with a 4.13 earned run average across 52 1/3 innings. His whip at 1.43, I should say. He did struggle in his last outing when he went just 3 2/3 innings, allowing 8 hits, 5 runs, all 5 earned, and he was taken out of the ball game and did not make it through 4 innings. Allowed 8 hits and 4 walks. Well, we are just moments away from first pitch. We've got the national anthem coming up in just a couple of moments. We'll step aside. When we come back, it's time for Blue Crabs baseball and the rubber match of this 3-game set.
This is Daryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Who will honor the United States of America with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, with so gallantly streaming, and rockets the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Everybody say about the bed. Last but not least, charging in down the left field line, Long Island's favorite mascot, little double ducket. Let's have a big round of applause for Quacker Jack.
Well, just moments away from the start of this ball game. It's game 3 of a 3-game set. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs lost game 1, 11-8. They win in game 2, 7-4 behind a 6-run first inning where all 9 batters reached base. All 9 batters actually got hits in the first inning. It was 9 consecutive hits from the Blue Crabs. And they scored 6 or 7 runs in back-to-back innings. It was 7 runs in the 9th inning in game 1. They scored 6 runs in the first inning in game 2. Nearly had back-to-back 7-run innings across 2 different days. The 7-run 9th inning was not enough, though, as the Blue Crabs trailed by 10 runs going into the 9th inning in game 1. Well, Southern Maryland scored 6 in the first inning in game 2. They never looked back. Ultimately won game 2, 7-4. Blue Crabs bats were very quiet across the last 5 1/3 innings. Did not record a hit in the last 5 1/3 innings in game 2, but their early performance was enough to get them the victory. It's Chris Cepeda who steps on the mound. He'll face off against Jack Sundberg, who restraps his batting gloves and digs in from the left side. Now Sundberg homered back in game 1, hit one to very deep center field in game 2, and the first pitch is low and away in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. 6:39, the time for first pitch on a Thursday evening on Long Island. 1-0 pitch. That's a low, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. 2 balls, no strikes, no outs on Sundberg in the top of the first inning. Cepeda set. Here's the 2-0 on the lefty. That's low and away, and the count 3 balls and no strikes. And Cepeda has missed in virtually the same exact spot on the first 3 pitches of this ball game. 3 balls, no strikes, nobody out. We'll run you through the Blue Crabs order momentarily, along with the defensive alignment for Long Island. 3-0 pitch, that's a called strike on the outer half. And the count, 3-1. Jack Sundberg, the leadoff hitter. Meanwhile, Michael Wolanski bats second. Jared Walker in the 3 spot. The cleanup hitter is also the designated hitter. That's David Harris. Batting 5th, it's Joe DeLuca. Zach Collier in the 6th spot. Pitch, wave and a foul tip. That one goes all the way back to the backstop, and the count 3-2. Santiago Chirino is back in the lineup in the 7th spot tonight. Was 2 for 4 in his first game with the Blue Crabs last night. Ryan Haug bats 8th. He's doing the catching. And Michael Baca bats 9th back at shortstop. Let's bring you around the defensive alignment for the Long Island Ducks. It's Dustin Woodcock in left, Alejandro de Azaz in center, and Matt Chamberlain in right field. Davidson Romero is at third base, while Vladimir Frias at shortstop. Bill Caulfield, the second baseman, Jose Sermos at first, and Carlos Castro does the catching for Chris Cepeda. Here's the payoff pitch. That's up and away. It's ball 4, and a 6-pitch walk issued by Chris Cepeda as we are underway in game 3 of this 3-game set. Well, Darrell Thompson trying to recover after a tough start. His last 3 starts include 2 complete game shutouts. His last time out, those 6 innings, 5 runs and 3 home runs. So he'll look to turn the page and get back to what he was doing in those first 2 starts that were separated by only 2 days. And the pitch. It's a little inside in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Pitched on Wednesday and then again on a Saturday. It's almost unheard of. 1-0 pitch. We'll have to wait as Chris Cepeda tosses over to first to check on Jack Sundberg, who's in easily as he dives in safely. Michael Wolanski, we had him on the pregame show today, was 2 for 3 yesterday, added 2 walks. And the 1-0 pitch, a little bit upstairs in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. The Blue Crabs have experimented with Michael Wolanski at third base. He looked very good in the lone game he played over there at third. But with the addition of Santiago Chirino, he's back at second base. And the 2-0, runner goes, pitches a called strike, throw it out of second's not close as Jack Sundberg swipes his 44th bag of the season. Again, the former Blue Crabs record was 37, so he continues to add to a Blue Crabs record for the most stolen bases in a single season. He was telling us earlier this year he wants to hit 50. That's a bit of a stretch at this point. He'd need 6 more stolen bases across the final 4 games of the year, including tonight. The pitch was a strike to Wolanski, though, so the count 2-1. Top of the first inning, nobody out. Sundberg to second after the stolen base. Cepeda. Here's the 2-1. Upstairs, count 3-1. Control an issue early on. He walked Sundberg on 6 pitches, has fallen behind in the count to Michael Wolanski 3-1. He's thrown 10 pitches so far in this evening's ball game. 7 of them have been balls, just 3 strikes. Cepeda set. The pitch. It's low and in. It's ball 4. Back-to-back walks to get us started this evening. And it brings up Jared Walker. Spoke with Jared Walker earlier today. Actually recommended a terrific burrito spot. Went there before the game. I tried a number of bagel spots over the past couple of weeks, and none of the places have really been outstanding. The last place I went, which we'll discuss a little later, was probably the best I'd been to so far. But still, I don't think anywhere beat the bagel spot in my hometown. They make bagels fresh every morning, and they're outstanding. And despite the fact that they're New York or New Jersey bagels, they haven't quite topped what I got back at home. So we'll get into the bagel spot and the burrito spot a little later today. I'm sure we'll have time over the course of the broadcast. First pitch, big wave and a miss, and the count 0-1. Jared Walker is also 6 for 11 so far in this series. 4 hits in game 1, had a home run and a base hit yesterday, and the pitch called strike, and the count 0-2 now on Walker. The righty-lefty matchup. Chris Cepeda, the righty, against the left-handed hitter Jared Walker. In the first inning yesterday, Jack Sundberg and Michael Wolanski were both out. A long fly out from Jack Sundberg, a line out to left from Wolanski, and the next 9 batters reach for Southern Maryland. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Jared Walker. Swinging a high fly ball, shallow center field. Alejandro De Aza is there, and he makes the catch. And there is one away. So after back-to-back walks, a fly out to center field. And it's David Harris who will come to the plate. Harris had 3 hits. One of the things he does so well, and staying back on a lot of those breaking balls, and we've seen him change his swing from a big step to a much smaller step at the plate. Watch when he's at the plate here if the camera angle does not impede your ability to see his front foot. Just look at his timing. I think it's just worlds better this year than it was last year. Hit 270 last year, 327 this year. Double steal, pitches low, throw down to third, not in time. Davidson Romero thought he might have had him, but did not get the tag down on Sundberg in time. So a double steal, the pitch was low for a ball, and there are runners on second and third with 1 out. The count 1 ball and no strikes. So Sundberg from second to third, Wolanski from first to second. So for Sundberg, that's steal number 45. And for Michael Wolanski, that is his 4th steal with the Blue Crabs, 6th steal overall. 1-0 pitch fouled back. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Wolanski had 2 steals with these Long Island Ducks. And Wolanski runs rather well. Certainly well enough to swipe a few bags over the course of the season. He's 6 out of 6. Sundberg 45 out of 51. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, right field. This one rather deep. It sends Matt Chamberlain back in front of the warning track where he makes the catch. Jack Sundberg tags from third to home. Meanwhile, Wolanski from second to third. And the Blue Crabs jump on the board first with a sacrifice fly. And meanwhile, Wolanski just 90 feet away with 2 outs. And here comes Joe DeLuca. DeLuca, like everybody else on this Blue Crabs team, picked up a single in the first inning, or at least a hit. He had a single. Blue Crabs actually had 5 consecutive RBI singles, or 4 consecutive RBI singles. It was the 7, 8, and 9 hitters, Chirino, Haug, and Baca, along with Jack Sundberg. And it looked as though Michael Wolanski might make it 5 in a row. He had a single to left, but Baca was thrown out at the plate. And the first pitch, low and away. The count, 1 ball and no strikes. Rather pleasant evening on Long Island. Temperatures at 69 degrees. So it's a little bit chilly, and that's the sort of time of year we're getting toward. 1-0 pitch, that's low and away. Count 2-0 now on DeLuca. And that's what happens. You get to late in September, or middle of September, but still, I mean, we're the very late stages of summer. Officially hit fall in a week, but I mean, after Labor Day, it's really the fall, so we should be grateful to have anything in the 70s at all at this point, especially in New York. Go down to Maryland to get more, 70s, but still, it's that time of year. We'll have some more chilly nights, I'm sure, the rest of the way. 2-0 pitch, that's away. Count 3 balls and no strikes, and Chris Cepeda at risk of walking his 3rd batter here in the first inning. Blue Crabs have 1 run in on no hits and 2 walks with 2 away. Wolanski off of third base. Cepeda. Here's the 3-0. Low and in, it's ball 4. Control a real issue for the righty, who has thrown 21 pitches, 13 balls, just 8 strikes. As Zach Collier will dig in. And historically, Chris Cepeda has not had a major issue with walks. He'd walked 16 batters across 52 1/3 coming in. And if you take out his last start as well, he'd walked 12 batters in his first 49 innings. That's just over 2 walks per 9. But his last start into tonight, he's walked 7 batters across 4 1/3 innings. 12 batters in 49 innings, 7 batters in 4 1/3. It's a massive difference, including 3 in the first inning here tonight. Watch out for the steal from DeLuca as the first pitch is away for ball 1 on Zach Collier. DeLuca doesn't run all that much, but the Blue Crabs have been inclined to run here in the first inning. Sundberg stole second. Wolanski and Sundberg put on a double steal. And the 1-0 pitch to Collier. Big wave and a miss. He was ahead on the breaking ball. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-0 Blue Crabs. A sacrifice fly from David Harris. The difference so far on the top of the first inning. As Zach Collier, who was hitting .257 on the season, steps back in. Another toss to first base. They nearly got him. First baseman Jose Sermo thought he had tagged out Joe DeLuca at first as he dove in safely. Collier 1 for 4 last night, hitting .320 on this road trip, and has a 6-game hit streak to show for it. 1-1 pitch to Collier. Popped up, foul ground, third base side. It's going to find the seats. Count 1 and 2. Well, the Blue Crabs runs in the first inning in back-to-back ball games now. Put up a touchdown, 6 runs last night. Six runs on 9 hits, and Blue Crabs finished that inning with 4 consecutive RBI singles and 9 consecutive hits. The last out was on a hit as well, on an outfield assist. 1-2 pitch, up and away, count 2 and 2. It was the left fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who fired a strike to the plate to throw out Michael Baca, who had stumbled around third base. That was last night. Blue Crabs muster only 1 more run in the ball game. Either way, tonight they've got a run in the top of the first. 1 run on no hits and 3 walks. 2-2 pitch. That's away. Count 3 and 2. And Chris Cepeda has thrown 26 pitches 16 of them balls, just 10 strikes. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on first and third as Collier digs back in. Blue Crabs got the first run of the ball game on a sacrifice fly, and now this ball thrown over to first base. Sermo wasn't covering, and Wolanski will score. Meanwhile, DeLuca from first to second base. Chris Cepeda did not look as he fired over to first base, and Jose Sermo was not keeping him on the bag. So we'll have to see if that's going to go down as a throwing error against Chris Cepeda. I think it was. He threw that ball to nobody over at first base and threw it away. And so as a result, it was the first baseman Sermo had to chase after the ball and then fire it to second base as Wolanski easily scored. 3-2 pitch to Collier. Swinging a ground ball over to second. This should do it. It's the second baseman, Phil Caulfield, who tosses to first in time for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs scored 2 runs on no hits. They strand 1 at the end of the top of the first inning. It's the Blue Crabs 2, and the Ducks coming to bat on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Bottom of the first inning, it's Darryl Thompson who deals the first pitch to Phil Caulfield for a called strike in the count 0-1. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 2-0 lead, 2 runs on no hits in the first inning for Southern Maryland. As Chris Cepeda walked 3 batters, the 0-1 delivery. Upstairs, count 1 ball and 1 strike. Jack Sundberg walked. He came around and scored. Michael Wolanski walked. He also came around and scored. A fly out from Walker, a sacrifice fly from Harris, a walk from DeLuca, and a ground out from Collier. Those were the batters back in the top of the first inning as Caulfield fouls this one off third base side. Let's bring you through the starting lineup for the Long Island Ducks along with the defensive alignment for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Phil Caulfield leads things off. It's L.J. Mazzilli in the 2 spot. Alejandro De Aza bats third. Davidson Romero is the cleanup hitter tonight. Jose Sermo bats 5th, while the 6th hitter is Carlos Castro. Vladimir Frias in the 7th spot. The 1-2 pitch is upstairs, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Meanwhile, it's Dustin Woodcock batting 8th and Matt Chamberlain who is the 9-hitter. Caulfield digs back in. 2-2 offering from Darrell Thompson. Swinging a high pop-up, shallow right center field. This one falling quickly. Collier slides and makes the catch. Beg your pardon, that's actually Jared Walker out in right field, who made the long run to right center to make the grab, and there is one away. Jared Walker acting like he's out in right field every day. He makes the catch, and there's one away in the bottom of the first inning. The Blue Crabs have been moving Jared Walker around the diamond to make sure they keep his bat in the lineup, especially with the recent success. As Walker has 4 extra base hits in this series. And the pitch to L.J. Mazzilli is fouled back on the count 0-1. The last regular season start of the year for Darrell Thompson before we go to postseason play. And the 0-1 called strike in the count 0-2. We saw Alex Matthews' last regular season start last night. Thompson goes tonight. We'll see Lampson tomorrow, Butler on Saturday, and probably see Alcides Herrera on Sunday. Pitch, ground ball, that's up the middle, past the outstretched reach of the second baseman, Michael Wolanski, into center field. And that's the first hit of the ball game. A single for L.J. Mazzilli. And there is a runner on first base with one out.
Left center fielder, number 33, Alejandro De Aza.
2-0 Blue Crabs as Alejandro De Aza tips his cap to the Blue Crabs dugout. Says hello to the home plate umpire Silvio Martinez along with the catcher Ryan Haug. Now taps the dirt off of his cleats and we are ready to go. De Aza waves the bat behind his helmet. Here's the first pitch from Darrell Thompson. It's low on the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, the Long Island Ducks will finish their season on the road on Staten Island. They call it the battle for the belt. And the 1-0 pitch called strike, count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. As De Aza digs in. Alejandro De Aza is 4 for 6 in this series with a home run and 3 RBIs, 2 for 3 last night. 1-1 pitch, that's away. Count 2 balls and a strike on the former big leaguer who bats from the left side. Spent 10 different years in Major League Baseball. Was with the Marlins in 2007 and 2009, the White Sox from 2010 through 2014. And the pitch, it's a little away. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. Played with the Orioles in 2014 and 2015. The Red Sox in 2015, the Giants later on in 2015, the Mets in 2016, and the Nationals in 2017. Add all those teams up, and he played with 6 different organizations. 3-1 pitch, check swing, did he go? No, he did not, according to the third base umpire, Joe Iglio, who's standing much closer to second base. And there are 2 on with 1 out. The base hit from L.J. Mazzilli and the walk to Alejandro De Aza. And here comes Davidson Romero. Romero steps in from the right side. Blue Crabs will travel from Long Island to Lancaster tonight as they start a 3-game series tomorrow. Pitch called strike in the count 0-1 on Davidson Romero. 2 starts ago on Darrell Thompson's bobblehead night, the Blue Crabs legend pitched a complete game shutout, allowing just 3 base runners. He's allowed 2 base runners with just 1 out in the bottom of the first tonight. 0-1 offering from the righty. Oh, looked pretty good. I guess it might have missed inside. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out on Davidson Romero. Thompson, as per typical, he throws a lot of fastballs. He told me he threw 104 fastballs out of 106 pitches on that bobblehead night. Pitch, line drive, this one into center field. It bounces in front of the left fielder, Jack Sundberg, and it's going to score a run. L.J. Mazzilli scores from second, Alejandro De Aza from first to third, and this is a 2-1 ball game. RBI single from Davidson Romero. And there are runners on the corners and 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. For the Blue Crabs, 2 runs on no hits. For the Ducks, 1 run on 2 hits. And Jose Sermo comes to the plate. Well, the Ducks get 1 back here in the bottom of the first inning. Sermo restraps the batting gloves and will step in from the left side. Well, the Blue Crabs star righty, Darryl Thompson, 14-4 this season. And the pitch, swing and a miss, count 0-1. He was not his traditional self earlier in the year. He did struggle a little bit. Across the first month and a half of the season, he had a 4.15 ERA, but ever since then, it's been dropping and dropped to as low as 3.36. Pitch called strike on Jose Sermo, and the count 0-2 now on the lefty. Across the months of July, August, and September. Pitch, ground ball over to first, throw to second for 1, back on to first, a double play. 3-6-1 double play. It was Joe DeLuca who fielded it at first base. He fired to the shortstop, Baca. The turn back to first in time to get Jose Sermo for the double play. Well, as I was just discussing, as Darryl Thompson's been lowering his ERA since the month of July, and all of a sudden he turns a 3-6-1 double play, and the Blue Crabs get out of the bottom of the first inning. Well, the Ducks score 1 run on 2 hits. They strand 1 at the end of 1 inning of play. It's the Blue Crabs 2 and the Ducks 1 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation, or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
And the first pitch from Chris Cepeda here on the top of the second is a called strike on the Blue Crabs' leadoff hitter in the inning, Santiago Chirino. And the count, no balls and 1 strike. And the pitch, swinging a drive down the left field line. It's in there for a base hit. It drops in front of the left fielder. That's Dustin Woodcock for a base hit, and it's the first hit of the day for Southern Maryland. Blue Crabs have scored 2 runs on 1 hit now, as Santiago Chirino has his 3rd single in a Blue Crabs uniform. Here's Ryan Howe, the catcher, who steps in from the right side. And the first pitch shows bunt. He pulls back, count 1 ball and no strikes. I guess the Blue Crabs still trying to just manufacture some runs here in the top of the 2nd inning. Move Chirino over to second base. And again, Chirino, just a very good contact hitter. Toss back over to first to check on the runner. Was 0 for 1 in steals this year. Was 1 for 1 in stolen bases last year. So not a threat to steal. Check swing down the first base line, foul, and the count 1-1. Those, of course, his numbers with the New Jersey Jackals of the Frontier League. Santiago Chirino has a short lead off of first base. Cepeda comes set. And tosses back over to first. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. Blue Crabs 2, the Ducks 1. As Haug, Baca, and Sundberg will be the next 3 up to the plate. 1-1 pitch. Swinging a ground ball slowly over to second base. The flip to second for 1. Back on to first. Not in time. Oh, very close play at first base. Haug beat it out by maybe a half step. That was a virtual tie over at first base. As Haug safe. Chirino out at second. And so a fielder's choice. Is 1 on with 1 out in the top of the 2nd inning for for Michael Baca, I should say. On the year, Michael Baca hitting .222. Meanwhile, Chris Cepeda has thrown 32 pitches through an inning and a third. That number very high. And the first pitch to Baca is low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. The primary reason for the high pitch count is his lack of control through the first inning and a third. Of his 33 pitches now, 18 balls, 15 strikes. 1-0 pitch on the ground, third base side. That ball is a foul ball. Ball just maybe a foot foul down that third base line toward the third base bag. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. Over on first base, Ryan Haug with that mitt on as he runs the bases, and of course it's got the positive of protecting your fingers and maybe even add an inch to your hand as you dive into the base. The throw over to first base, it gets past the first baseman Jose Sermo. Haug jumps on his horse. He's going to round second. He's going to go all the way to third. A throw to third's a good one, but it's offline, and Davidson Romero drops the ball. It is a 2-base error against the pitcher, Chris Cepeda, who threw to first. It was a tough play for Jose Sermo. Got by him. Haug tried to race all the way to third. He dives in safely. It's the 2nd error of the day from Jose Sermo. Last time around, he threw to first base, and no one was within 15 feet of the bag. And so Michael Baca is at the plate. The infield is in with 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Cepeda the pitch. Up and away, count 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, 1 out on Michael Baca. Baca taps home plate once, count 2 balls and a strike. And the pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, right field line, tailing foul. The count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan Haug, who stands on third base, he runs okay. He's stolen 6 out of 7 bases successfully. Have to imagine that he'd be able to score on a fly ball to the outfield. Anything typical. I wouldn't think anything. Maybe if it's a shallow fly ball, he might have some trouble, as anyone would. 2-2 pitch, line drive, straight away center field. Davidson Romero drifts back. He makes the catch, and he will not attempt to throw in. Ryan Haug scores from third. It's a sacrifice fly, and the Blue Crabs have a 3-1 lead. 3 runs on 1 hit for Southern Maryland across the first inning and 2/3. As it's back to the top of the lineup with Jack Sundberg. Well, this is what's called manufacturing runs. And the Blue Crabs have managed to do that quite well tonight. 2 runs in the first inning on 3 walks. Here in the second inning, a single, a fielder's choice, a 2-base throwing error, and a sacrifice fly. And the pitch, that's away, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. The ability to drive in runners with less than 2 outs is a big advantage. You got a runner on third, you got no outs, you got 1 out, you're able to get that sacrifice fly or the ground ball on the infield to score a run. Goes a long way. 1-0 pitch is up and away, count 2-0 to Sundberg. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs in the top of the second inning. Even if Darrell Thompson doesn't happen to have his best stuff tonight, we'll have to see over the course of the next few innings. As the 2-0 pitch is a called strike, count 2-1. It's a big boost to have the bats finding ways to drive in runs. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Pitch away, count 3-1. Blue Crabs 3, Long Island 1. On a cool evening on Central Islip, Long Island. 3-1. That's a little inside, ball 4. And for the 4th time tonight, Chris Cepeda has walked a batter. 4 walks, no strikeouts. He's thrown 23 balls and just 19 strikes. As Michael Wolanski will step in. Wolanski walked earlier today. Sundberg has now walked twice. Runner on first base with 2 outs. And the first pitch, ground ball over to third. Romero has a little bit of trouble with it. He now picks it up, fires the first, is in time to get Michael Wolanski for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs score 1, they strand 1 at the end of an inning and a half, I should say. It's a 3-1 Blue Crabs lead on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Carlos Castro steps in to get things going in the bottom of the second inning to a chance of let's go Castro. As the first pitch, a swing and a foul tip into Ryan Haugsmith, and the count no balls and 1 strike. A solid crowd on hand this evening from Fairfield Properties Ballpark for the final home game for the Ducks this season. 0-1 pitch is inside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. A whole bunch of fans here, especially up close in the first few rows, and it's not a Saturday night in the middle of summer, but 1-1 pitch fouled off first base side. The count 1-2. I mean, we don't have a sellout here tonight, but a large crowd on hand for sure. One ball and 2 strikes on Castro. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. First strikeout tonight from Darryl Thompson, and he blows a 90-mile-an-hour fastball past him. And there is 1 away. That's 4 fastballs that we saw from Darryl Thompson there on the strikeout. Vladimir Frias will dig in from the left side. Darryl Thompson has allowed 1 run across an inning in a third. The Blue Crabs bats, though, have mustered 3 runs here in the second inning. First pitch from Frias popped up foul on the count 0-1. Through an inning and a third, 23 pitches, so the pitch count is up for Darryl Thompson. The real benefit the Blue Crabs have is that their top 2 starting pitchers, so Darryl Thompson and Mitch Lamson, go very deep into ball games. 0-1. Line drive foul, count 0-2. Mitch Lamson will go 6 or 7 innings very easily. Leads the league in complete games with 6. And the 0-2. Upstairs, count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here is the 1-2 to Frias. Just a little bit up and away. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. As far as your pitching stat leaders, and the pitch, this one popped up in the infield. A 2-2, and it's Baca who drifts over towards second base where he makes the catch for the second out. So quickly 2 up and 2 down from Darryl Thompson in the bottom of the second inning.
Player of the game, left fielder, number 15, Dustin Woodcock.
Dustin Woodcock will step in. Dustin Woodcock steps in. Thompson the first pitch. It's a called strike, and the count no balls and 1 strike. Well, Darryl Thompson came in with a 3.49 earned run average. That's .01 behind Jorge Martinez, who is still qualifying despite the fact he hasn't pitched in more than a month. 0-1 pitch popped up foul back behind home plate, and the count 0-2. I mentioned complete games earlier. I had Lamson at 6. He actually has 7 complete games. And as far as shutouts are concerned, Lamson with 3 and Thompson with 3. I mean, you look up and down these numbers. Thompson is in the top 5 in virtually every single one of them. ERA, he ranks 2nd. WHIP, he ranks 1st. In strikeouts, he's 7th. In wins, he's 1st. In complete games, tied for 1st. Shutouts, 1st. Innings pitched, 1st. Game started, 1st. And the list just goes on and on and on. Count 1-2, though, on Dustin Woodcock. Here's the pitch. Low, and the count 2-2. Dustin Woodcock, the 8-hitter. He'll be followed by Matt Chamberlain if necessary. the 2-2. Popped him up in the infield. It's the second baseman, Michael Wolanski, who drifts onto the infield grass and makes the catch overhead for the final out. Well, Daryl Thompson retires the Ducks in order. 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the second inning. We go to the top of the third. It's the Blue Crabs 3 and the Ducks 1 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. We are back from Fairfield Properties Ballpark just ahead of Game 3 of this 3-game set. The rubber match between the Blue Crabs and the Ducks. And we're joined by Michael Wolanski. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Michael, let's jump in with last night's ball game. The Blue Crabs pull off a win, and it was in large part due to the first inning effort. The team put up 6 big runs.
Yeah, it was crazy. I don't think I've ever been a part of something like that where all 9 hitters in a row get hits. So that was pretty cool. Being one of the only guys who gotten out in that inning, that was a little stressful in my second at bat, but that was really cool, and it's always good to get off to a hot start, especially for Merrithew. Let him get a little cushion and him be able to go out and attack hitters, so it was a good start for sure.
Another crazy part of that inning was that 4 consecutive batters had RBI singles. You almost made it 5 consecutive there in your second at bat.
Yeah, crazy. I didn't even know that stat until right now, but I don't know. It was just a crazy inning, real special inning, and it's cool to see everybody string together that kind of, I guess, hit streak. It was pretty cool.
Well, you got a hit in the first inning. You had another hit later in the ball game. You reached base 4 times. Do things seem to be clicking right now at the plate?
Yeah, I was seeing it well last night. It's a good confidence booster. I needed that. I hadn't gotten a hit in a while, but we'll just try and roll off of that, and hopefully I'll be seeing it well tonight.
Blue Crabs put up 8 runs in Game 1. You had 7 runs last night. The Bats seem to be coming along as a whole after a bit of a low spell there for about a week.
Yeah, I think, you go through good stretches and bad stretches, and, I know everyone's up there battling. No one really gives away any at-bats, even when we're going bad. So I think, just good stretches, bad stretches. We've been hitting a lot of balls hard right at people, and last night they finally started to fall. So I think that's good going forward, and it'll be a nice little confidence boost going into the playoffs.
You got one game here. It's the rubber match of a 3-game set, but I actually want to fast forward. Well, you got to listen to a little bit of our interview with Michael Wolanski moments ago, and our first pitch is in there for a called strike on Jared Walker. 3-1 Blue Crabs as we are underway in the top of the 3rd inning. Walker will be followed by Harris and DeLuca. Pitch, ground ball through the right side, a base hit for Jared Walker. And there's a runner on first base to get things going in the top of the 3rd inning. For Jared Walker, he extends his hit streak to 3 games. Walker is now 7 for 12 in this series. A 4 for 5 game in Game 1 with 3 extra base hits. In Game 2, a solo home run and a 2 for 5 performance. And 6 for 10 now. Coming into the ball game, he's 1 for 2 today, so 7 for 12 at this point in the series. And the first pitch to David Harris has popped up foul territory in the count 0-1. David Harris with an RBI back in the first inning as part of a sacrifice fly. Drove in Michael Wolanski. But a single to get things started from Jared Walker here in the 3rd. Pitch a little bit low and away. In the count 1 ball and 1 strike. And the pitch to Harris, called strike. That one on the outside corner in the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Still nobody out in the top of the 3rd. Blue Crabs have an opportunity to set their all-time record in total wins. With 83, that's the max possible. Pitch, ground ball over to short, could be 2. It's Frias, the shortstop, who steps on the bag and fires to first. It's a 6-3 double play. There are quickly 2 away in the top of the 3rd inning.
Fourth baseman, number 10,
So 2 outs and nobody on as Joe DeLuca will step in from the left side. DeLuca walked his first time up. The switch hitting catcher hit north of 300 last year. He's a 259 hitter this season. I think things just, especially after returning from injury, he was hitting over 280 for a long time. He was up over 300 when he returned to the Atlantic League after playing in AAA, and the pitch a little bit low and away, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Just a bit of a down spell for the switch hitter. DeLuca, the 1-0 offering. 1 line drive, 1 hopper up the middle for a base hit out of the reach of the second baseman for the Long Island Ducks, Phil Caulfield. And it's a 2-out single for Joe DeLuca, as Zach Collier will step in. Among teams that are still vying for a spot in the playoffs, we'll give you some updates as to where things stand. And the pitch to Collier, swinging a line drive, well struck to left center. That drops for a base hit and gets all the way to the wall. DeLuca rounds third. He'll score without a throw. It's an RBI triple for Zach Collier, and the Blue Crabs have a 4-1 lead. That ball was smoked to the alley in left center. It drives in Joe DeLuca, and Blue Crabs have a 4-1 lead. They've scored in each of the first 3 innings of this ball game. Joe DeLuca singled, but he comes around to score on the RBI triple from Zach Collier. And the first pitch is up and away, and the count 1-0. And I can't imagine that Long Island is excited to see Santiago Chirino at the plate, who might be the Blue Crabs' best contact hitter. 3 for 5 so far with Southern Maryland. 1-0 pitch, that's away. Count 2-0. Might not be a bad idea to walk him with the runner on third base and 2 outs. You don't want to allow an RBI single. Just move on and see if you can deal with Ryan Haug. But so far, Chirino's been very successful at the plate. 2-0 pitch, line drive. This one to right. Playable for Matt Chamberlain, who takes a step back and makes the catch right around shoulder high for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs score 1, they strand 1 after the RBI triple from Zach Collier. The end of 2.5 innings of play. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 4-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. Let's listen to a little bit more of that interview with Blue Crabs second baseman Michael Wolanski. A little bit into that Lancaster series. You have 3 games on the road in Lancaster, and is it sort of a tune-up before you get that divisional series 2 days later?
I guess you could call it that. It's going to be interesting because, we'll see some of their starters, which I'm sure we'll see in the playoffs also, and they'll see some of ours. So, I mean, we both played each other a lot this year. We kind of know what each team has. So, I think if nothing else, it'll be a little precursor to the playoffs, and I hope the same atmosphere in these next 3 games rolls straight into the playoffs, because it'll be a lot of fun.
What's the mentality then for first this regular season set and then going into the playoffs there?
I mean, regular season set, obviously, ideally, we always go out to win. We want to win no matter what, which that's what we're going to try to do. But if for whatever reason we don't, I mean, we'll be ready to go in the playoffs. And if nothing else, they'll, maybe get a little cocky. And if not, we'll try and get ahead early and win these next 3 games. And then going into the playoffs, hopefully their confidence will be down. So one of the two.
Speaking of wins, the Blue Crabs just tied their all-time record for most wins in a season yesterday with 82. They can break that record tonight, and I guess if they don't get it done tonight, across that 3-game series with Lancaster. It's a pretty big accomplishment for this ball club.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've been working really hard every day, so it's really cool to see that pay off, and no doubt in my mind we'll get it. If not, hopefully break it by 4 games. So we'll see tonight, but we're definitely excited about that.
The Blue Crabs' former record was set back in 2010. They played a lot more games. They were 82-57. This team, 82-45. So a significantly better record there. Well, as you just heard moments ago, the Blue Crabs looking to set a new all-time record for the most wins in a single season in Blue Crabs history. And the first pitch to Matt Chamberlain, the 9-hitter, is lined into right field for a base hit. So runner on first with nobody out. In the bottom of the third inning, 4-1 Blue Crabs. Chamberlain gets the offense going.
Now batting for the Ducks, the second baseman, number 11, Bill Caulfield.
Bill Caulfield 0 for 1 today with a runner on first base now and nobody out. And the Phil chants have started on a Thursday night on Long Island. First pitch, line drive foul, third base side. The count 0-1. Southern Maryland 4, Long Island 1. As Caulfield steps in. Thompson the 0-1. Line drive, well struck, left center field. Long run for Sundberg, who drifts back in front of the UBS sign where he makes the catch. And there is one away. Blue Crabs who have a 4-1 lead over the Ducks. They have 4 runs on 4 hits. The Ducks 1 run on 3 hits.
Number 13, LJ Mazzilli.
And LJ Mazzilli comes to the plate with the runner on first base. I'll give you an update on a couple of numbers throughout today's ball game, including pitch velocity from your 2 starters. And the first pitch, it's a little low. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Here in the bottom of the third inning, Darryl Thompson has topped out at 89.1. Chris Cepeda, on the other hand, at 86.3. 1-0 pitch, hard line drive, left field line. That ball drops for a base hit and extra bases. Sundberg races to it. But it's Chamberlain waved around third. The throw to the plate is in time. Oh, how about that relay? Sundberg to Baca to Haug to tag out Matt Chamberlain at the plate. Chamberlain was on first base and 1 out. The double down the left field line. He tried to score all the way from first. And Matt Chamberlain thrown out at the plate. Another terrific assist by this outfield.
Number 33,
Double from LJ Mazzilli. It looked like the Ducks were going to make this a 4-2 ball game, but instead a terrific play by Jack Sundberg and the shortstop Michael Baca. And it saves a run. And even if Baca isn't always hitting at the plate, his ability to add defensively and throw a perfect strike to the plate and serve as that cutoff man for Jack Sundberg to complete the relay and get the out of home, it's a big difference. First pitch called strike, and the count 0-1 on Alejandro De Aza. Well, De Aza steps back in. He's had 1 plate appearance today. He walked in that lone plate appearance. On the series, he's 4 for 6. And he's walked 3 times. 0-1 pitch, that's away. Count 1-1. Blue Crabs 4, Ducks 1. Again, the Blue Crabs will travel to Lancaster, Pennsylvania at the conclusion of today's ball game. And the umpires had to remove something from the playing field. Over on second base, it's LJ Mazzilli. De Aza at the plate with 2 outs. Throw down to second. A little bit offline. Baca was there. Either way, the count 1 ball and 1 strike on Alejandro de Aza. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Pitch, swinging a high pop up into shallow center off the bat of De Aza. It's Collier who drifts in and makes the catch overhead for the final out. Well, that ends the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Blue Crabs allow just 1 hit. The Ducks strand 1 at the end of 3. It's a 4-1 lead for Southern Maryland on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Into our next section. It is the Your Opinion section, Mike. And let's talk about an MLB potential expansion. We want to move outside of the U.S. We want to move outside of Canada. There's a team in Toronto, but let's go somewhere else. Where is the country or city that this new MLB club is ending up in?
Let's see, a couple I could name. I'd say probably Dominican Republic. So any of those Central American countries, really, baseball's really big over there, and we get a lot of players from over there. Other than that, I'd say probably somewhere over in Japan and Korea. They got some really good professional baseball leagues over there. So I'd say any of the above would be a good expansion league for the MLB.
It might be a little tough with the travel time over in Korea and Japan. I think that's probably, a 10-hour flight. But, I mean, future travel, maybe you can make that work.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, we'll see what that entails. But I think it would be cool to kind of see other countries, other cultures. I think it would be cool, and it would grow the game. So I think it might be hard logistically, but it would be worth it, in my opinion.
Ryan Haug said, let's grow it into Europe. He wanted to go to London. Is that realistic, or is that a no-go for you?
I could see London. That's good. I don't know how big baseball is over there. That's the only problem. Right. I think soccer's got it beat in that country, but we'll see. I don't know.
We mentioned growing baseball beyond the U.S. We talked about London moments ago. Is that a potential landing spot for the MLB in the future? Maybe, maybe not. Either way, there's going to be another game played in London this year. And, of course, Team Great Britain is competing in the World Baseball Qualifiers with 4 either current or former members of the Blue Crabs. And the first pitch to Ryan Haug, a little inside in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Top of the 4th inning, 4-1 Blue Crabs. Now the former players for the Blue Crabs who are over there, or the current players as well. We'll start with the current players, Crosby and Shaw. Alex Crosby, Raul Shaw. Pitch topped foul, first base side, count 1-1. Mackenzie Mills, who was acquired by the Mexican Baseball League after winning the Pitcher of the Month in June. He will also be on Team Great Britain, along with former Blue Crab Kent Blackstone. Either way, 7:15 local time is the first pitch. As the 1-1 is fouled back, count 1 ball and 2 strikes. The World Baseball Classic qualifiers are in Germany. And the 1-0 pitch is inside, and the count 2-0. So that's 7 hours ahead. So tomorrow's game starts at 7 o'clock local time. They're 7 hours ahead of the U.S. It should be a noon start time for the Blue Crabs. 2-2 delivery. Ground ball, 1 hopper over to third. Davidson Romero fields and fires to first. And there is 1 away. So Great Britain will play tomorrow at noon in their first matchup. So it's Great Britain and France. And then the winner of that game will play Germany in game 2. And the pitch, wave and a miss on a breaking ball, count 0-1. So the teams competing are South Africa, Spain, France, Great Britain, Czech Republic, and Germany. All right. I mean, I can't say any of them are known for their baseball. 0-1 pitch is low and away, count 1-1. But I think with enough, work internationally from Major League Baseball, that you can grow the game into Europe to an extent. And the 1-1. Popped up, foul territory, first base side, count 2-1. Blue Crabs with 2 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third. There's 1 away in the fourth. Meanwhile, the Ducks, 1 run on 4 hits tonight. Scored 1 in the first, none in the second or third. And the 1-2 is away. Count 3 balls and 2 balls and 2 strikes, I should say. So the Blue Crabs were in York earlier. They go to Lancaster tomorrow. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball. This went over towards second base, past the reach of Cepeda, but Phil Caulfield's got it, and he fires to first in time for the second out. Well, with the chillier temperatures, you got Ray Ortega. He's out there in the jacket, Blue Crabs' third base coach. We'll start to see a little bit more of that as the summer winds down into the fall. You might be asking what things look like in Lancaster for the next few days, as Southern Maryland will play the Barnstormers for 5 games. And the pitch fouled back by Jack Sundberg. Count 0-1. Let's give you the update now on Lancaster's weather there. I beg your pardon. I was trying to find out the weather there as Sundberg fouled that pitch back. It will be 81 tomorrow, 84 on Saturday, and 88 on Sunday. So high temperatures for that first series. Pitch ground ball over to first. Now it's going to be a tough race to the bag, but it's Jose Sermo who beats Sundberg for the final out in the top of the 4th inning. On Tuesday and Wednesday, temperatures again in the 80s, so it should be nice and warm for the final 3-game set and the 2 playoff games down in Lancaster, as the Blue Crabs have a 4-1 lead at the end of 3.5 here on Long Island. We will step aside. When we come back, Darryl Thompson comes back to the hill on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details. Our military fought to protect the American dream. Let's help them live it.
Bottom of the fourth inning, Davidson Romero leads things off. First pitch from Daryl Thompson's a called strike. 4-1 Blue Crabs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. It will be Davidson Romero, followed by Jose Sermo and Carlos Castro. Pitch, line drive. It's right at the right fielder, Jared Walker, who makes the catch, and there is one away.
Now batting for the Ducks.
After allowing a run in the first inning, Daryl Thompson has kept the Ducks off the board in the second and the third. Jose Sermo, who plays first base, digs in. And the first pitch. A little bit low and away in the count. 1 ball and no strikes from Daryl Thompson on Jose Sermo. Thompson has thrown 44 pitches, 29 strikes, 15 balls across the first 3 1/3. 1-0 pitch, big wave and a miss in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. Thompson's ERA has dropped to 3.48. That's tied for the best among qualifiers with Jorge Martinez, who again hasn't pitched in more than a month, but is still apparently a qualifier. As the 1-1 pitch is low, count 2-1. So the ERA category, Thompson is technically second, but among active players is first. 2-1. Swinging a high fly ball, left field line. It's Jack Sundberg who tracks over and runs out of room. And count 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Jose Sermo digs back in. Top of the fourth inning, 4-1. The Blue Crabs over the Ducks. Thompson set of the chest. 2-2 pitch. Called. Strike 3. Sermo goes down looking. It's just the second strikeout of the day from Thompson. But there are now 2 away in the bottom of the fourth.
The catcher, number 44, Carlos Castro.
Here comes Carlos Castro, who struck out his first time up. Castro, the catcher tonight, played out in right field on Friday. Looked lost for the most part, but he did make one outstanding play in the first pitch, swing and a miss, and the count 0-1. He robbed a home run from Jack Sundberg. He reached over the wall and took it back. Also made a diving play on a ball that was hit off the bat of Michael Baca the at-bat prior. 0-1 pitch. That's low, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. The one thing, though, about the diving catch in the Michael Baca line drive was that Carlos Castro took a very circuitous route to the ball. If he had taken a direct route, he would not have needed to dive, but he dove anyway after he took a bad route in the 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. High fastball, and Castro was under it in the count 1-2. Well, because he took a bad route to the ball, he had to dive, but hey, he made what looked like a nice diving catch and then robbed a home run on the next pitch. The next batter, 1-2 pitch. Foul back in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes it remains. Blue Crabs 4, Ducks 1 on a Thursday evening on Long Island for game 3 of this 3-game set. Here's the 1-2. That's outside. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So the Blue Crabs will make that 3.5-hour bus trip to Lancaster. Let's see, how does the traffic look at 8 p.m. in the evening, or 7:53 right now to be exact. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lancaster is 4 hours and 12 minutes as of right now. We'll have to hope the traffic improves, because that's quite a trek. 211 miles. It's a long drive tonight. 2-2 pitch popped up into center field. It's Zach Collier who drifts over to right center and makes the catch for the final out. Well, that ends the fourth inning. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 4-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. When we come back, it's the Blue Crabs coming to bat on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
We go to the top of the fifth inning. It is 4-1 Southern Maryland over the Long Island Ducks. As Michael Wolanski steps in, first pitch a little bit inside in the count, 1 ball and no strikes on Wolanski. We had a trivia question asked by Wes Mumper, and we have 2 submitted trivia questions. We're going to get to all 3 of them here in the top of the fifth inning. 1-0 pitch. Swinging a line drive, well struck, left center field. This one back to the warning track. Woodcock leaps and makes the catch. Dustin Woodcock leaps and makes the catch in front of the YMCA song right beneath the video board. And there is 1 away in the top of the fifth. So our first question comes from Wes Mumper, and he says, what person born and raised and educated from New York State is considered to be the father of American baseball? Now, I don't remember the exact person's name, but I believe he made what are known as the Knickerbocker rules. And they were used back in the 1930s into the 1940s at the Knickerbocker Baseball Club in New York. So I think that is the answer to part of your question. I don't know the man's name, or don't remember it. So, Wes, if you could give us his name in the YouTube chat. If you came up with a question, we'd love to see it. And the 1-0 pitch, called strike, count 1 ball and 1 strike. I mean, the game of baseball, totally different across the 1800s. Things really got standardized in the very early 1900s. With the World Series coming into play, I believe it was 1902. And the 1-1 pitch was away. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. Now back to that last point, though. I mean, there were 8 balls for a walk. I mean, pitchers pitched far more innings than they pitched today, with the record being nearly 650 innings pitched in a single season. As the 2-1 pitch is away, count 3-1. I mean, just imagine a pitcher throwing 651 innings in a season. I mean, if you're going in a 162-game season, you're averaging 4 innings per game. So if you don't pitch one game, you're going 8 innings every other. It's just crazy. 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss from Jared Walker. Count 3-2. It's something like what you'd see in softball nowadays. And of course, there's just much less stress on the arm in softball than there is in baseball. That's why they use so many fewer pitchers. But just the very motion of throwing a baseball puts more stress on your arm. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out on Jared Walker in the pitch. Wave and a miss. Breaking ball low and out of the zone, and there are 2 away.
Section 204.
All right, well, let's get to the 2 questions that were submitted for today's ball game. We have our official scorer, Blaine Pilkerton, who says, prior to playing in Oakland, what 2 cities did the Athletics call home? Prior to playing in Oakland, what 2 cities did the Athletics call home? Now, I will tell you this much. I had no idea on the answer to this one. Pitch called strike, and the count 0-1. If you know it, though, that's great. So we're going to post that. We'll write that right in the YouTube chat now so everybody can see it. As the 0-1 pitch to David Harris is low. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. 4-1 Blue Crabs. Pitch. Popped it up. Foul. First base side. Count 1-2. So again, the question, prior to playing in Oakland, what 2 cities did the Athletics play in? So I said to get to all 3 of the trivia questions here in the 5th inning, but I want to spread them out a little bit. So we're going to give a little bit of time before we get to our second question, which was submitted by Kevin Cullens, who does a lot of the stringer work in the press box. Pitch, ground ball over to the third base side, fielded by Davidson Romero on the backhand. The throw to first is in time to get David Harris, who runs rather well down that first base line, and that ends the inning. A 1-2-3 inning from Chris Cepeda to end the top of the 5th. It's the Blue Crabs who still have a 4-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Vladimir Frias gets us started in the bottom of the 5th inning. 4-1 Blue Crabs. For Southern Maryland, 4 runs on 4 hits for the Ducks. 1 run on 4 hits. And the pitch popped up foul, third base side. The count, no balls and 1 strike. Darrell Thompson, after running into trouble in the first inning, has seemed to straighten things out here in the last couple. And the pitch called strike, count 0-1. With the exception of the double from L.J. Mazzilli, he's allowed just 1 hit since the first inning. And the 0-2 pitch, that's away. Count 1-2. On Vladimir Frias, who bats 7th in the lineup tonight. And the pitch, ground ball through the right side for a base hit. Well, right on cue, right when I was saying that Thompson's only allowed 1 hit in the last 3 innings. A single for Vladimir Frias through the right side. There's a runner on first base with nobody out.
Now batting for the Ducks, left fielder, number 15, Dustin.
Here comes Dustin
Woodcock.
So it's Frias, Woodcock, and Chamberlain. 7, 8, and 9 before we'll wrap around back to the top of the lineup. Now there is a group of fans who is right by the Blue Crabs dugout. There are a couple rows, and I'll tell you, they're making more noise than I've heard at an Atlantic League game in a while. And the pitch from Thompson, swinging a high pop-up, shallow left field, long run for Sundberg, who gets under it and tracks it effectively. He makes the catch, throw into first base, but it's cut off by Michael Wolanski, who said there was no chance he was going to get him, and we're not going to risk this. And so there's a runner on first with 1 out. Wolanski and Sundberg are now exchanging glances back and forth at each other. I think they're friendly. I don't think that Sundberg legitimately thinks he had a real shot at getting him at first base. I think maybe initially he did, as Vladimir Frias had a rather large lead off of first base. But the pitch a little bit low and away to Matt Chamberlain, count 1-0. It was a rather accurate throw. Probably would have gotten to DeLuca, the first baseman, on a hop, but probably didn't have a chance of getting him. Pitch, 1 hop over to second, should be 2. To second for 1, back on to first, 4, 6, 3, double play. Terrific job by Wolanski, dealing with what was a little bit of a bad hop. He fielded it right around shoulder high, flipped to second for the first out, Baca to first for the second out. It's a 4-6-3 double play to end the bottom of the 5th inning. Well, Darrell Thompson's now gone 5 innings. He's only allowed 1 run on 5 hits across 62 pitches. We'll step aside when we come back. The Blue Crabs will try to add to their 4-1 lead in the top of the 6th.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details. Our military fought to protect the American dream. Let's help them live it.
We go to the top of the 6th inning. 4-1 Blue Crabs lead over the Long Island Ducks. And Chris Cepeda back out on the mound. First pitch to Joe DeLuca, swinging a line drive, left field line. This ball falling and falls for a base hit. DeLuca around first. He trots into second base and now has to turn on the Jets a little bit. This was a strong throw by the left fielder Woodcock, but a leadoff double for Joe DeLuca right down that left field line. It was a high fly ball, and he manages to slide into second safely with a leadoff double. So a runner in scoring position with nobody out. Now Chris Cepeda really recovered after a bad first inning and a tough second and third for that matter as well. Cepeda threw nearly 30 pitches in the first inning as he walked 3 batters and allowed 2 runs. Cepeda made a fielding error himself back in the first and second innings. And now a runner on second base after he held the Blue Crabs off the board in the 4th and 5th. Pitch, that's low, and the count 1-0 on Zach Collier. At this point, a 2-hit day for DeLuca. He's also walked once. Batting average up to .264 on the year. Collier 1 for 2. He's added an RBI. Blue Crabs 4 runs on 5 hits. 1-0 pitch called strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. DeLuca from second base. Southern Maryland leads at 4-1. The Blue Crabs would set a franchise record with 83 wins with a win tonight. 1-1 pitch, wave and a miss, count 1-2. Blue Crabs' prior record set back in 2010 was 82-57. Blue Crabs have also clinched the best winning percentage in Blue Crabs history, no matter what happens the rest of the way. In the final 4 games of the regular season, the Blue Crabs will end up playing 131 this year. Pitch, 1 hopper over to short, fielded on the backhand by Frias. Throw to first, they got him by about a quarter of a step. Oh, that was razor thin margins over at first. And the first base umpire, that's Mike Williams, made the call. 1 away in the top of the 6th inning. Either way, a terrific play by Frias to field and fire in time. Now the first pitch is a called strike on Santiago Chirino. Chirino 1 for 2 today. On the year, he has 3 singles, 3 for 6 with the Blue Crabs. Pitch, that's low and in. Count 2 balls and no strikes. 1 away in the top of the 6th. Blue Crabs 4 and Long Island 1, I should say. Blue Crabs scored 2 in the top of the first. The Ducks scored 1 in the bottom of the first. Blue Crabs scored 1 in the second and 1 in the third. A 1-1 pitch, that's or the 2-0 pitch is a called strike, count 2-1. So Wes Mumber says Major General Abner Doubleday is considered and unofficially named the father of American baseball. He's a Civil War veteran and commanded the 1st Corps at Gettysburg. So I do understand that as the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes now on the batter at Santiago Chirino, that he is considered the unofficial father of baseball. But I did a report on this way back in high school. And apparently there isn't all that much evidence to suggest that Doubleday was really all that impactful in the founding of baseball. I think that he sort of got a bigger name over the years, and that's the story sort of went from there. Not to say he wasn't a big general and a major player in the Civil War, all of which he was, as the pitch was popped up, first base side, foul territory. But I believe it was started just before his time in the 30s, was when the first baseball rules were established, and he was a general in the Civil War in the 60s, 1860s these are. Either way, great story, and it's always great to hear about General Abner Doubleday and any Civil War history, so we always appreciate it. Wes, Raul Shah says He's got a trivia question. Who is... We're going to get to this in a second. Joe DeLuca leads off the second base. Haug at the plate. First pitch. It's a little inside. Raul Shah, who is, of course, the Blue Crabs' second baseman. He's over in Germany right now for the World Baseball Classic, says, who is the coolest member of the Blue Crabs? And he says, I'll give you a hint. He's in this chat. So let's see. Maybe we could give some answers for Raul. 1-0 pitch, foul back. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. Now, for our trivia question, Wes Mumper says Philly was one of the 2 cities, and he's right, that the Athletics played in prior to Oakland. What other city did the Athletics play in prior to Oakland, other than Philly? It's pretty impressive that Wes got 1 at all. I didn't know either one. 1-1 pitch. That's away. Count 2 balls and a strike. 4-1 Southern Maryland. DeLuca led off the inning with a double. But a ground out from Zach Collier on a terrific defensive play from Vladimir Frias, and a pop out from the newest Blue Crab. That's Santiago Chirino, and there are 2 away. And the 2-1 pitch, that's low and away. Count 3 balls and 1 strike. Three balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Ryan Haug will dig back in from the right side. And Susan H. has responded that Hahat, the player who is clearly still jet lagged as they are over in Germany 7 hours ahead, and it's 3:15 in the morning. Raul, we appreciate the support. Pitch comes up and in and hits Ryan Haug. And the catcher for the Long Island Ducks, Carlos Castro, is yelling at the home plate umpire Silvio Martinez, claiming that Haug leaned into the pitch. And Silvio Martinez is not having it, giving it right back to Carlos Castro. And they're having quite a conversation right now after Haug was hit by the pitch. And Carlos Castro does not believe he was actually hit by the pitch. He thought it was too far, it was not far enough inside, and that he was crowding the plate too much. But Ryan Haug has long been one of those guys who is happy to take a pitch on the arm, and he has the Blue Crabs record for the most hit by pitches in a single season by a player. And frankly, it's not very close. Among batters on this team, he has been hit 29 times, which is frankly wild. Runners on first and second with 2 outs. And those 2 rows of fans who've gotten really into this ball game are now booing. And the first pitch to Baca, swinging a line drive, well struck down the right field line, long run, and it's the right fielder Chamberlain who tracks it down in the corner for the final out. Matt Chamberlain had a long way to go down into the right field corner to make that catch. It would have fallen for extra bases, but he steals one from Michael Baca. The Blue Crabs picked up 1 hit. They strand 2 at the end of 5.5 at Southern Maryland 4, and the Ducks won on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation, or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
Well, Phil Caulfield will get things started in the bottom of the 6th inning. 4-1 Blue Crabs. Top of the lineup, 1, 2, and 3 due up for the Ducks. And the first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Phil Caulfield, followed by L.J. Mazzilli and Alejandro De Aza here in the bottom of the 6th. And time is called over on the third base side by the third base umpire, Joe Iglio. On the count, 1 ball and no strikes it remains. 1-0 pitch, popped him up in the infield. Santiago Chirino into foul ground, but he gives way to the catcher, Ryan Haug, who makes the catch. And there's one away. And those fans are yelling at Ryan Haug. It is quite entertaining. They're just trying to get the attention of the Blue Crabs players by any means necessary. We'll have to ask them about those fans in the front few rows. 1 away in the bottom of the 6th inning. Blue Crabs 82-45, looking to set a record and go 83-45. We've got a few more comments to get to in the YouTube chat. Pitch has popped up foul, first base side. These are some fun ones here. All right, so Raul Shah said that he had a trivia question for who the coolest Blue Crabs player was, and he said that he's in the chat. And so it's Susan H. said, clearly a player who's still jet lagged. And Wes Bumper said he wouldn't call himself that, as L.J. Mazzilli now shoots the 0-1 pitch into the hole through the left side for a base hit. And there's a runner on first base with 1 out. And Raul said he is still somewhat jet lagged, and Susan H. says that he has the coolest shoes and the coolest bat for sure. Now we got another interesting note from Wes Bumper, who said the Gettysburg native Eddie Plank played for the Philadelphia Athletics. Always a great note. And Raul Shah said, how's the crowd there tonight? Is it pretty big? We were talking about this earlier, Raul. It's Fan Appreciation Night here on Long Island. And so a decent crowd, especially for a Thursday night in September. And the first pitch, that's low in the count. 1 ball and no strikes on Alejandro De Aza. It's certainly a rowdy crowd here tonight, I can tell you that much. Matt Nemeth said that it's crazy that the WBC national team has fielded the Great Britain Blue Crabs. No, he's right. And Wes Bumper shot back at Raul Shah. He said, Raul, who is the coolest current member of the Blue Crabs? And this ball lifted high in the air, third base side. And Santiago Chirino gives chase but runs out of room. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. And Raul Shah responded to him. He said, so Alex's mom was born there. Mackenzie's parents have ties there too. I'm trying to guess he's saying how all the players were able to get there. And Raul Shah says, well, me, of course. It's like he is still a current member of the Blue Crabs. So the fact that he's not here on Long Island, but fair enough. 1-1 pitch, line drive, great catch by Chirino. Throw to first is a little bit late getting back to the bag. So Alejandro De Aza lines out to third base, and there are 2 away. It's always great to hear what the fans have to say in our chat, and some of our players, including Raul Shah, who has made his voice known today on the YouTube chat.
Number 24, Davidson Romero.
So just to give clarification on how all 4 players are eligible, he said Alex Crosby's mom was born in Great Britain. Mackenzie Mills' parents have ties there too. I believe it's because at least someone in our chat was saying that he was from Jamaica, and Jamaica is a former British colony. And imagine that his parents may have been born when it was still a colony. Pitch to Davidson Romero. It's the first pitch, and it's lined into left field for a base hit. Past the outstretched reach of Michael Baca. Runners go station to station. So LJ Mazzilli from first to second, and Davidson Romero is on first base.
Now batting for the Ducks.
And here comes Jose Sermo, who represents the tying run.
Jose Sermo.
Again, the first game for Team Great Britain will be tomorrow at noon Eastern time, 7 p.m. over in Germany. They're 2 hours ahead of England, and we're 5 hours behind. So England is considered that middle time zone. So Germany's +2. We're -5 here on the East Coast. So a 7-hour time difference as Great Britain takes on France. And the pitch, swinging a high fly ball down the left field line in foul territory, and it finds the seats a couple rows deep. Santiago Chirino and the Blue Crabs left fielder Jack Sundberg were giving chase. We're happy to have a very lively chat today, everybody. We're going to get one more trivia question in today. It was submitted by Kevin Cullens, and the first pitch is a called strike. For those of you who don't know Kevin Cullens, he is the Blue Crabs stringer who communicates all of the plays with Major League Baseball. And sometimes he operates the scoreboard at the Reg in Waldorf. So in the top of the 7th inning, we'll get to that. For now, runners on first and second with 2 outs. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball. Left field, not all that deep, easily playable for Jack Sundberg, who makes a 2-handed catch, head high for the final out. And that finishes the 6th inning. The Ducks pick up 2 hits. They strand 2. They score none at the end of 6 innings of play. It's the Blue Crabs 4. It's the Ducks 1 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Ian Yetzko, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Are you in the market for a new roof? Well, give William Richmond Inc. a call and get serviced by Southern Maryland's premier roofing contractor. Locally owned and operated, William Richmond Inc. is licensed, bonded, and insured, and has a 5-star rating on HomeAdvisor. They care about their work almost as much as they care about your home. Call 443-432-3426 today for a free estimate, or go to williamrichmondinc.com. Don't forget to mention the Blue Crabs and save 10% on any service.
we go to the top of the 7th inning. The Blue Crabs have a 4-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. Jack Sundberg restraps his batting gloves. The Blue Crabs go for win number 83 on the season, which would set a franchise record for the most wins in a single season in franchise history. First pitch, little away, in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Well, Raul Shah has come to update us that I had the time zone wrong as the 1-0 pitch is fouled off. Third base side, count 1 ball and 1 strike. Shah says that the game will start at 7 p.m. in Regensburg, but it's a 6-hour time difference, not a 7-hour time difference. I'm not sure how I got that wrong. Maybe it's a different time zone for Regensburg versus the rest of Germany. I'm not sure. Pitch to Sundberg, swinging a line drive, well struck, but it's right at the center fielder, Alejandro De Aza, who only goes back maybe a step or two and makes the catch. And there is 1 away.
Second baseman, number 12, Michael Wolanski.
Because according to Google, we are -5 to GMT, which is where the 0 time base is. And Germany's +2, so my math isn't amazing, but that's a 7-hour difference right there. So one of those is wrong. Either we're not -5 or Germany's not +2 if it's a 6-hour time difference. Pitch is in there for a called strike on Michael Wolanski. So 1 o'clock, that's the time, everybody, tomorrow. I believe the games are on YouTube. 0-1. That's a little outside. Count 1 ball and 1 strike. That's what I heard. I don't remember where I heard that, but my understanding is the games are on YouTube. So go and check them out tomorrow. Prior to the Blue Crabs game, watch 4 current and former Blue Crabs, and then watch the full Blue Crabs team at 6:30. Pitch. It's a little low on the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. World Baseball Classics and World Cup qualifiers and World Baseball Classic qualifiers as well. They're always very fun to see because you got a mix of players who get a real chance to shine on the world stage here and represent their country. First, the 2-1 pitch, though, to Wolanski is lined into right field for a base hit. So a runner on first now with 1 out in the top of the 7th inning.
Right fielder.
And for some of these players who play for countries like Great Britain or the countries they'll face, whether it be France or Spain or South Africa or the 2 teams that got byes who are include Germany, and just to give them a really good shot at making the World Baseball Classic and seeing how they fare against some of the world's best players, whether you're playing against the U.S. or you're playing against Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic or Japan or Korea or whoever. All the talent those countries have. First pitch called strike, and the count 0-1. For the Blue Crabs, 4 runs on 6 hits. For the Ducks, 1 run on 7 hits tonight. Cepeda still in the ball game here in the top of the 7th. And the pitch, that's a called strike, and the count 0-2. For Chris Cepeda, he's now thrown 104 pitches. You have to wonder how much longer the leash is on the righty, although he's been really good last 3 1/3 innings. He allowed 2 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third, but since then, it's been smooth sailing for the righty. Cepeda. Here's the 0-2. It's away, count 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. As Jared Walker taps home plate a number of times. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. The pitch away, count 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out on Jared Walker. Walker 1 for 3 today. Sundberg 0 for 2, he's walked twice. Wolanski 1 for 3, he's also walked. Harris is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. He stands on deck while DeLuca is 2 for 2. Collier 1 for 3. Chirino 1 for 3. Hauge and Baca are both 0 for 2. 2-2 pitch runs low in the dirt, and the count 3-2 on Jared Walker. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out on Jared Walker. In the top of the 7th inning, 4-1, Southern Maryland leads. No runs from either team, though, since the 3rd inning. It was an RBI triple from Zach Collier that scored Joe DeLuca. Chris Cepeda. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Line drive. Oh, deflects off the glove of the second baseman, Phil Caulfield, into right field for a base hit. That ball was smoked off the bat of Jared Walker. And there are runners on first and second now with just 1 out.
Designated hitter, number 14, David Harris.
And here comes David Harris. You'd have to wonder again how much longer for Chris Cepeda. That base hit from Jared Walker hit 106 miles an hour off the bat. Meanwhile, Zach Collier's triple hit 104. And Michael Wolanski's single earlier in the inning was hit 104 miles an hour. Those are the 3 hardest hit balls of the ball game. They're all from the Blue Crabs. And the first pitch to David Harris, called strike, in the count 0-1. Breaking ball that just barely clipped the outside corner, though he might not be a big fan of that call. Give you an idea of pitcher velocities tonight. Darrell Thompson has topped out at 90.7 miles per hour. And the pitch to Harris is foul back. Meanwhile, Chris Cepeda has topped out at 86.6 miles per hour. Both pitchers have allowed 7 hits, but Cepeda has allowed 4 runs, and Thompson has allowed just 1. The pitching lines for your 2 pitchers tonight. Thompson, 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. For Cepeda, 6 1/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, just 2 earned, 4 walks, and a strikeout. 0-2 pitch, hard ground ball through the left side for a base hit. Deflected off of Romero's glove. They send Wolanski to the plate. The throw home is not in time. Meanwhile, it's Walker to third. It's Harris the second. An RBI single for David Harris, and he advances into scoring position. So now 2 in scoring position with 1 out in the top of the 7th. And the Blue Crabs have taken a 4-run lead and have an opportunity to make it a commanding 6-run lead with a simple base hit. So a 5-1 Southern Maryland edge over Long Island. Wally Backman walks out to the mound. That, I'd imagine, will be the end of the night for Chris Cepeda. Wally Backman motions down to the bullpen, and that will do it. He goes 6 1/3 innings. He's allowed 5 runs and 3 earned. He's on the hook for the 2 runners in scoring position. We'll step aside when we come back. We will break down the numbers on the new pitcher and give you the trivia question from Kevin Cullins. Don't go anywhere.
Hey fans, looks like Manager Wally Backtown is going to call for the bullpen. Now pitching for the Ducks, number 46, Chaz Sywin. Now batting for the Bluegrass.
Well, Chaz Sywin enters the game in the top of the 7th inning. Sywin has a 0-1 record, a 4.22 earned run average across 21 and a third innings. The Blue Crabs have a 5-1 lead, and they have 2 in scoring position with only 1 out. It's Joe DeLuca who comes to the plate for the Blue Crabs. Right-handed pitcher against a switch-hitting catcher, who of course bats from the left side. And the first pitch, swinging a line drive, this one to left field. It is the left fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who makes the catch. Throw comes to the plate, and it's not in time. Oh, let's see what's going to happen here as Jared Walker ran into the catcher, Carlos Castro, as he was, I guess, in the way as he scored from third. And it's now a 6-1 ball game as a sacrifice fly from Joe DeLuca gets the job done. Seems like Carlos Castro has been in the mood for an altercation over the last couple of innings. He was not happy that Ryan Haug had gotten hit in the arm. He thought he was too close to the plate. Had a conversation with the home plate umpire in tonight's ball game, Silvio Martinez. And then just moments ago, Jared Walker had to push over the catcher Castro as he was blocking the plate. And the pitch to Collier is a called strike, and the count 0-1. Runner on second and 2 outs. The Blue Crabs now have a very healthy 5-run lead. Blue Crabs scored 2 in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and have added 2 here in the 7th. Oh, 1 pitch to Collier. Big wave and a miss, and the count 0-2. For Southern Maryland tonight, Darrell Thompson's gone 6 innings across 73 pitches, 7 hits, 1 run, and 2 strikeouts. Will be the last regular season start of the year for Darrell Thompson. He's in year number 10 with the Blue Crabs. 0-2 pitch, up and away, count 1-2. Thompson, of course, the pitching coach for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs, as well as the ace of the staff, has a really good chance at earning the Pitcher of the Year for the 3rd consecutive season. Pitch, line drive, into center field. It's right at the center fielder, Alejandro De Aza, though, and he makes the catch for the final out. Well, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. The Blue Crabs scored 2 more runs in the top of the 7th. They strand 1 at the end of 6.5 innings of play. It's Southern Maryland 6 and the Ducks 1. We'll keep it right here for God Bless America.
Land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Okay, let's give it up for Maggie Robinson. Now, fans, I'm going to need you to
This is
stay
Nick Wells,
on.
and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation or look us up at ihg.com. or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
Now Carlos Castro digs in. The first pitch lined into left field for a base hit. And there's a runner on first base with nobody out in the bottom of the 7th inning and a 6-1 Blue Crabs lead as Vladimir Frias, the 7-hitter, comes to the plate. Oh, it was nice to have Raul Shaw stop in. Well, it's Blue Crabs manager Stan Clyburn who walks out to the mound. You have to wonder, is this the end of the road for Daryl Thompson in his last regular season start of the season, or is he just going to have a meeting at the mound? It seems as though Stan Clyburn has taken the baseball. Will he give it back to his pitching coach, Daryl Thompson, or is that the end of the road? As Stan Clyburn opts to come out pretty early to have that conversation with Daryl Thompson, and that's going to do it. Daryl Thompson comes out of the ball game after 6+ innings of work. He allows 8 hits, allows only 1 run. As the Blue Crabs make the call to the bullpen, Connor Law will enter when we come back on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. But actually, you know what? We're going to stay here for a moment. We've been teasing this trivia question for a long time, so don't go anywhere. We're going to pull this trivia question up and make sure we get it in now. We'll write it in the YouTube chat during our break here. But the question is from Kevin Cullens. He said, yesterday, Vladimir Guerrero became the youngest Blue Crab. I beg your pardon. It would be nice if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was on the Blue Crabs. He became the youngest Blue Jay to hit 100 home runs. What did his father accomplish on the same date in 2003? So again, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hit his 100th home run. He became the youngest Blue Jay to hit 100 home runs. What did his father accomplish on the same day in 2003? We'll write the question in the YouTube chat. Raul Shaw says, thanks for having me, Austin. And he's officially logging off. Have a great game tomorrow, Raul. We wish the best to all the players out in Great Britain. We'll step aside briefly. When we come back, we'll give you the numbers on the Blue Crabs reliever, Connor Law. Well, it's Connor Law who enters the ball game in the bottom of the 7th inning, 6-1 with nobody out. As we'll see Connor Law in the 7th, and we'll have to see who comes in the 8th and 9th tonight with a 5-run Blue Crabs lead. Runner on first base with nobody out. Connor Law with a 3.13 ERA this season. First pitch, that's low in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Law, the second newest Blue Crab. He's only been topped by Santiago Chirino, who just joined the team yesterday. Law, the 1-0 offering. Swinging a high pop-up into shallow left. It's Sundberg who takes a couple of steps in and makes the catch, and there is one away. Well, Connor Law has a 1-2 record this year. It's a 1.44 whip. His ERA down to 3.10 after the out. Last time out was against these same Ducks last night when he went 1/3 of an inning, striking out the only batter he faced. This season across 54 2/3 innings, he has struck out 67 batters. And Dustin Woodcock digs in with a runner on first base and 1 out. First pitch, hard fastball, called strike, count 0-1. Well, we have seen Connor Law for only a handful of pitches, but he has the hardest pitches thrown already. Law's been at 90 to 91 so far in tonight's outing. The righty deals. Breaking ball on the outside corner, count 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes on Woodcock. And again, you think about who might be available in the 8th and 9th innings here for the Blue Crabs. Baker went last night, as did Dykstra, and Briseño went in the 9th. So maybe do you see Nick Wells? Do you see Geeky? Do they go back to the same guys we saw last night? 1-2 pitches upstairs, or the 0-2 pitches upstairs, count 1-2. As the Blue Crabs, with a win tonight, will make it official. The most wins in franchise history with 83. Got a 5-run lead trying to hold on tonight. 1-2 pitch, foul back, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Connor Law had a bit of a tough go in his first outing, but since then he pitched a clean inning. Last night recorded the last out in the 5th. Has come out here in the bottom of the 7th inning and recorded the first out. Dustin Woodcock, who bats from the left side. The 1-2 pitch, a little bit high, and the count 2-2. I think you also have to consider score when you think about who might be available for the 8th and 9th innings. I mean, the Blue Crabs ahead by 5. Maybe you do go to your, traditional 7th, 8th, and 9th inning guys who are completely lights out. If you're up by 6 or 7, maybe you go deeper in that bullpen. 2-2 pitch, foul back. And again, some of the bullpen for this Blue Crabs team is really good and might be not considered part of that 7, 8, and 9. I mean, you've got Briseño, who's 9, Dykstra, who's 8. Neither one of those guys has allowed an earned run. I beg your pardon. Dykstra has not allowed an earned run over 10 innings of work. On the other hand, Briseño has an ERA that's at 0.76. And then Patrick Baker's ERA is sub-2. 2-2 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, well struck to center field. It's Collier who drifts back. He's in front of the warning track and makes the catch. There are 2 away. Now beyond that, you've got guys like Dalton Geeky, who especially recently has been really, really good. And Nick Wells, who played in AAA last year, and as a reliever has shined. So again, you look at a lot of these pitchers for the Blue Crabs out of the bullpen who've been remarkably consistent, but because the Blue Crabs starters have gone deep and because the top end of the bullpen is so good, you haven't had to use as many of those guys. Well, there are 2 away now in the top of the 7th. Matt Latos did not make the trip with the Blue Crabs, so I'm not sure if he'll end up joining Southern Maryland in Lancaster or if he's not going to join them at all for that last series. But he's been a big part of this Blue Crabs team and been battling through a couple of minor issues over the course of the last couple months with his shoulder, and looked like the Blue Crabs had him back. He was pitching really well, especially across the month of September, but unavailable for this series as the pitch is low on the count, 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 pitch called strike in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike now. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Bottom of the 7th inning. And the pitch lofted down the left field line. Long run for Sundberg, who slides. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Oh, how about that? Jack Sundberg with a highlight reel play down the left field line to end the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, Connor Law works through a perfect bottom of the 7th inning. He came in with a runner on first base. That same runner is stranded on first base to end the 7th inning. The Blue Crabs still have a 6-1 lead as we go to the top of the 8th in the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Contestants, are we ready? Looks like
we are underway in the top of the 8th inning as Santiago Chirino digs in, and the first pitch is low in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. 6-1 Blue Crabs. They'll send 7, 8, and 9 to the plate. And the pitch, line drive, right field, base hit. I mean, again, we talk about a really good contact hitter in Santiago Chirino. He is 2 for 4 tonight. He was 2 for 4 last night. He has 4 singles.
Number 2, Ryan Howe.
And Ryan Howe comes to the plate. Against the pitcher Chaz Sywin, who's back out for his 2nd inning of work. I'd be interested to see who comes in for the Blue Crabs in the top of the 8th inning. 6-1 Southern Maryland. Haug the pitch. Called strike in the count 0-1. Well, fans, we asked our trivia question in the YouTube chat. Said yesterday, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. became the youngest Blue Crab or Blue Jay to hit 100 home runs. And the pitch, swinging a high fly ball, rather deep to right center. It's the right fielder, Matt Chamberlain, back in front of the warning track, who makes the catch and chases Santiago Chirino back to the bag. There's 1 away. So again, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. became the youngest Blue Jay to hit 100 career home runs. What did his father, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., accomplish on the same day? Back in 2003, that is. Susan H. says, good job, Darryl. Got to let him rest the arm for the playoffs. Wes Mumpers said he's watching now from the clubhouse at a very dark and empty Regency Furniture Stadium. Let's just make that very clear. The empty reg. Next week it will be filled, and it will be for the playoffs. The first pitch misses away to Michael Baca. And the pitch to Baca, line drive, well struck to right center field, and De Aza makes the catch. Chirino's got to hustle back to the bag, and he gets there just in time. A really nice catch from Alejandro De Aza, and Chirino's quite far off the base. He had to scramble back to get there in time. There are now 2 away in the top of the 8th inning. Back to the top of the order for Jack Sundberg. All right, well, we'll have to answer that first question as well, which was, what city were the A's previously in? And the answer is they were in Philadelphia as the Philadelphia Athletics. They were also in Kansas City as the Kansas City A's. Now, during all of this, there's now a stoppage and play out on the field because it appears as though Alejandro De Aza might be a little banged up after making that catch. Didn't go down to his knees or anything. He's just sort of leaning over on his knees. Now his hands are on his hips. It might be a knee thing. We'll have to see what it is. Either way, the answer to our trivia question again: what cities did the Athletics play in prior to Oakland, Philadelphia, and Kansas City? So both those cities have teams now. The Phillies and the Kansas City Royals, as Alejandro De Aza will exit the ball game. And meanwhile, Zach Rakusin will enter the ball game. No reason to push anything at this point, given the circumstances. The Ducks out of the playoffs in a game where the Ducks are behind by 5 runs. The former big leaguer who played 10 years in the majors will exit the ball game. As the head athletic trainer, Jessica Von Kessel, comes out to meet with Alejandro De Aza, and Zach Rakusin enters. Deaza able to walk off the field under his own power, but did not appear to be doing all that well as he sort of limped to the dugout. And here comes Jack Sundberg. First pitch from Chaz Sywin. Called strike in the count. No balls in, 1 strike. Runner on first base with 2 outs for Sundberg. Pitch. Line drive, left field. That ball well struck. Long run. That ball's going to drop in the corner for extra bases. Santiago Chirino waved around third to throw to the plate, and it gets by the catcher Castro. And so Sundberg stays at second base with the RBI double. A 7-1 lead for Southern Maryland as Jack Sundberg drives in Santiago Chirino. And there's still a runner on second, and the Blue Crabs have a 7-1 lead. And with the Blue Crabs' large lead, we might see some fans start to file out, but it is the final home game of the year for the Long Island Ducks. So, I mean, some of these fans should really stick around till the final out. You never know what's going to happen. The Blue Crabs put up 7 runs in the 9th just only a couple of days ago. Bottom of the 8th inning. Michael Wolanski enters. Comes to the plate, I should say, with Sundberg on second and a 7-1 Blue Crabs lead. And the first pitch to Wolanski is a called strike, and the count 0-1. Now, fans, we talked about some of the bagel spots I went to earlier, and let's give you a bit of an update. So I went to a bagel spot yesterday. I went to, I believe it was Bagel Basket Cafe. That sounds right. And it was good. It was some of the better bagels I've had. So, yeah, would I say I highly recommend it? Maybe it's a little much as the pitch is up and away. It's some of the better bagels I've had here on Long Island, at least, or in New Jersey. So I think that's about as far as I'd go. Again, they weren't better than the bagels I had at home, which I'd give maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. The ones at home, they're really good. The ones here, like a 7.8, like good. Good, not great, but good. And the 1-1 pitch popped it up. Infield, first base side. And that ball falls in the stands out of the reach of Jose Sermo, who ran out of room. Count 1-2 on Wolanski. Now back to that previous point, though. I also had a chance to go to Bubba's Burrito Bar, which was highly recommended by the man on deck, Jared Walker. Talked to Walker earlier before the game today. I actually talked to him yesterday, and he said to you, "Have you tried that burrito spot?" And I said, "No, what's the burrito spot?" And so I texted him today. He told me to go to Bubba's Burrito Bar, and it was really good. I'll tell you how much it was. I mean, the burrito was massive. This was one of the largest burritos I've ever seen, and I was starving. I ate the whole thing. Pitch is popped up, first base side, and the count remains 1-2 on Michael Wolanski. It was a buffalo chicken burrito. Not the most common of burritos, but it was one of their so-called signature burritos. So I got one of those. So I believe I said, Wes, that it was both Philadelphia and Kansas City. Those were the two teams that the Athletics, or the Philadelphia and Kansas City, are the two cities that the Athletics used to play in. And the second question, which was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. became the youngest Blue Jay to hit 100 home runs. What did his father, Vladimir Guerrero Sr., accomplish on the same day back in 2003? What did Vladimir Guerrero Sr. accomplish on September 14th of 2003? 1-2 pitches inside, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So if you have any idea what Vladimir Guerrero Sr. accomplished 19 years prior to his son, I'll write it in the YouTube chat. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Wolanski at the plate. It's Sundberg on second. Pitch, line drive, very well struck into left field. That ball's going to go off the wall and left for extra bases. Wolanski slides into second safely while Sundberg scores from second. It's an RBI double, and the Blue Crabs have an 8-1 lead. Well, Michael Wolanski comes up big with the RBI double.
Right fielder, number 24, Jared Walker.
Wolanski is 2 for 4 tonight with 2 runs scored and a walk, as he continues to hit very well against his former team, the Long Island Ducks. On the year, Michael Wolanski against his former team is 14 for 43, which is good for a .326 batting average. Pitch to Jared Walker, a little bit outside in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. He's also hit 3 home runs and driven in 11 against his former team while scoring 13 runs. 1-0 pitch upcoming to Jared Walker. A little bit up and away, and the count 2-0. 8-1. That's the Blue Crabs' lead over the Long Island Ducks. Going to be interested to see where the Blue Crabs go here in the 8th after their lead has extended to 7 runs. And the 2-0. Swing and a miss, count 2-1 on the pitch to Jared Walker. So I would highly recommend Bubba's Burrito Bar. I think it's very good. Runner on second base, 2 outs, 2 on pitch. Called strike, count 2 balls and 2 strikes. So let's talk a little bit about the velocity from the Blue Crabs pitchers today. Darryl Thompson topped out at 89.7 miles an hour on the fastball. He averaged 84 on the fastball. Talk about throwing a lot of fastballs and not a lot of curveballs. We'll get there in just one moment. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Line drive foul, third base side. Count remains 2-2. Now, it seems as though, according to our TrackMan here, based on velocity, Darryl Thompson threw 70 fastballs. He threw 3 changeups and 1 curveball the entire outing. That says something. The ability to throw 70 pitches as fastballs and just 4 others. 2-2 pitch, called strike 3 on the inside corner against Jared Walker. He's not a huge fan, but he goes down looking to end the top of the 8th inning. It's the Blue Crabs who have an 8-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. We'll step aside when we come back. We'll see who comes to the mound for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. Don't go anywhere.
Now streaming on Tuesday.
This is Ian Yetzko, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Are you in the market for a new roof? Well, give William Richmond Inc. a call and get serviced by Southern Maryland's premier roofing contractor. Locally owned and operated, William Richmond Inc. is licensed, bonded, and insured, and has a 5-star rating on HomeAdvisor. They care about their work almost as much as they care about your home. call 443-432-3426 today for a free estimate or go to williamrichmondinc.com. Don't forget to mention the Blue Crabs and save 10% on any service.
Well, Dalton Geeky enters for the Blue Crabs. First pitch is fouled away to the left side off the bat of Phil Caulfield. 8-1 Blue Crabs. 2 runs in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, 2 in the seventh, and 2 more in the eighth. Count 0-1 on Phil Caulfield. Pitch, ground ball to the first base side, deflects off the bag itself. DeLuca's going to have trouble with it, and Phil Caulfield's going to reach. That, folks, is good luck from Phil Caulfield. Nothing more you can say than that. A weakly hit ground ball that somehow becomes a single.
Now batting for the Ducks, the designated hitter.
Ground ball to first base, right over to the bag, and deflected off the bag, took a weird bounce, and well, there's a runner on first base with nobody out. L.J. Mazzilli digs in from the right side. Runner on first base with nobody out. And the pitch, swing and a miss. And the count, no balls and 1 strike on L.J. Mazzilli, who bats second for the Long Island Ducks. 8-1 Blue Crabs. Blue Crabs 8 runs on 11 hits for the Ducks, 1 run on 9 hits. And the pitch, swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. Well, the Blue Crabs offense certainly alive for this series, as the Blue Crabs have combined for 25 runs over 3 games. Now, Blue Crabs have also allowed 15 in this series. Pitch, check swing, did he go? No, he did not. Count remains 0-2. On a pitch, count goes to 1-2, I should say, on a pitch low in the dirt. Now, Dalton Geeky has entered the ball game for the Blue Crabs, the hard-throwing righty. Well, he comes in with a 4.69 earned run average and a 1.68 whip. Geeky the 1-2. Ground ball over to second, could be 2. On a second for 1, back on to first. 4-6-3, double play. Doesn't get much more traditional than that on the 4-6-3 double play ball.
Now batting for the Ducks, the center fielder, number 17.
It was Michael Wolanski to Michael Baca. Across to Joe DeLuca, and there are 2 away in the bottom of the 8th inning. This Blue Crabs bullpen has been spectacular day in and day out. And this Blue Crabs bullpen is so good that come the playoffs, when you know, whoever the Blue Crabs end up going with, whether it's, I'd imagine it's going to be Thompson, Lamson, and then we'll see from there. I mean, we don't have that to be that official yet. And Stan Clyburn told me earlier today that he's still making the official rotation for the bullpen. He's got an idea of where it will be, but still a couple of question marks toward the back end of the rotation. 0-1 pitch, swinging a high fly ball. Right center field. It's the right fielder, Jared Walker, who ranges in and makes the catch. A 1-2-3 inning, courtesy of a double play ball off the bat of L.J. Mazzilli. Dalton Geeky faces the minimum. And the bottom of the 8th inning will go to the top of the 9th. 8-1 Blue Crabs of the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Although it didn't end well, you know, it's been a pleasure to play here and play in front of you guys. You guys are an amazing fan base, and I'm excited to see you guys in 2023.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
Top of the 9th inning, and the Blue Crabs send David Harris to the plate. Pitch high, chopper over to shortstop, fielded by Frias. Throw to first in time to get Harris. And there is one away in the top of the 9th inning. 8-1 Blue Crabs. Patrick Quinn, the new pitcher, who has an 8.64 earned run average. Joe DeLuca comes to the plate now. Be interested to see if the Blue Crabs turn to Dario Polanco. Will it be Nick Wells? Do they go back to Geeky here in the 9th? Stellar Maryland turned to Connor Law in the 6th, and he's sort of, I mean, there isn't really a 6th inning guy per se, but he's been used in those sort of mid-leverage situations since joining the Blue Crabs. The 1-0 pitch, or the first pitch is away. Count 1-0 now on DeLuca. And the high leverage situations have sort of been reserved for those 3. For Baker and Dykstra and Briseño. The pitch popped up, shallow left field, long run for everybody. It's the left fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who dives and can't make the catch. Oh, that was really shallow left. In hindsight, that's probably the shortstop or the third baseman's ball. Dustin Woodcock sprinted in and couldn't quite get there, so it's a base hit for Joe DeLuca, who will end up going 3 for 3 tonight. As the Blue Crabs have a runner on first base with 1 out. DeLuca 3 for 3 with a walk and a sacrifice fly. Not bad, not bad, that's for sure. As his batting average continues to rise, fell down to 259, but after that base hit, up to 267. And the pitch to Collier, swinging a high fly ball, center field rather deep. It sends the center fielder, Nick Rakusin, back toward the warning track where he makes the catch, and there are 2 away. 2 outs in the top of the 9th. The Blue Crabs 8 and the Ducks 1. And Santiago Chirino will come to the plate. Thought we might get an at-bat from Ian Yetzko, or might see Matt Hibbert here with a 7-run lead, but Blue Crabs manager Stan Clyburn opts to keep with the traditional lineup. And the first pitch called strike, and the count 0-1 on Santiago Chirino, who is 4 for 8 so far with the Blue Crabs. Looking to keep that batting average at 500. And looking to keep this inning alive. And the pitch, that's away, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike now. Well, glad everybody could join us tonight on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Austin Rooney, happy to have you with us. One pitch, line drive foul, first base side, count 1-2. Now a couple of things for our fans tonight, as there are only 3 games remaining in the regular season. So there was originally supposed to be a 4-game set between Southern Maryland and Lancaster, but because the Barnstormers have already clinched the North Division in the second half, we're only playing 3. So it's one of the changes they made. The game on Friday, game on Saturday, and a game on Sunday. 1-2. Line drive, right field. Right at Matt Chamberlain, who makes the catch for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs picked up a hit in the top of the 9th inning. DeLuca goes 3 for 3 tonight. But Southern Maryland strands 1. At the end of 8.5, it's the Blue Crabs 8 and the Ducks 1. Dalton Geeky to return for the bottom of the 9th inning. go. Well, the first pitch has popped up, right side of the infield. It's Michael Wolanski who drifts over to the right field line and makes the catch. And there is one away. 8-1 Blue Crabs. As Jose Sermo will come to the plate. Blue Crabs 2 outs away from making franchise history for the most wins in history of the Blue Crabs, trying to top their 2010 total of 82 wins. They were 82-57, a win tonight, and the Blue Crabs would move to 83-45 with just 3 games remaining. They will fall short of the Atlantic League record for win percentage, as they would have needed to win 90 games. The most they can win is 86, and with the extra game could have won 87. As of right now. But that's the way it goes sometimes. You're not going to break every Atlantic League record as the pitch is low and in. And the count 1-1 strike. The Blue Crabs have already broken the Atlantic League record for the best winning percentage in the first half. Now, previously, teams have played 70 games or 70-game halves. The Blue Crabs played a 66-game first half this year. But they also had the most wins across the first 70 games of a season in Atlantic League history, as they were 3-1 to start the second half, 51-19 across their first 70 games. 1-1 pitch in there for a called strike. Count 1-2 now on Jose Sermo. And Dalton Kiki has seen his ERA drop to 4.43. 1-2 pitch, swinging a high fly ball, deep right field. That ball was crushed to right over the billboards, and it's an 8-2 ball game. Jose Sermo really got into that ball. And it is an 8-2 ball game here in the bottom of the ninth with 1 away. As Sermo goes deep to right. Carlos Castro will enter the ball game.
Now batting for the Ducks, the catcher, number 44, Carlos Castro.
Now, Dalton Geeky's only thrown 13 pitches, but he has the top 5 fastest pitches in this ball game. He's topped out at 94.4 miles an hour tonight, according to the TrackMan data here on Long Island. We're just a few minutes past 9:30 in the evening for Carlos Castro. Pitch popped up foul, first base side, count 0-1. It's just one pitch, all it takes for a ball game to change. This one, a 6-run ball game though, so will take more than a pitch or two. 0-1 pitch, swinging a tapper foul back behind home plate. Count 0-2. No action in the Blue Crabs pen. As Geeky gets the sign from his catcher, Ryan Haug. 0-2 pitch fouled off third base side, and the count remains 0-2. Well, fans, it's always great to have you with us, and we really appreciate your support and all the support you've given us over the course of the year. And we're not done yet. Blue Crabs will continue their efforts tomorrow night in Lancaster for a 3-game set and then move on to the divisional round of the playoffs. So at least 6 more games with you, and it's been a pleasure to broadcast the last 129 games with you. As we hit the tail end of the season, 0-2 pitches away, count 1-2. We started the season with Andrew Banstra, who was joining us periodically. Andrew left for Wisconsin. It's been me, and I've been joined by a few guests across the games, depending on the day, and the 1-2 pitch is tap foul. Count remains 1-2. We, of course, had Amanda Batchelder on the broadcast. We had Eric, who tuned in yesterday on the YouTube chat, who joined us on the broadcast. Eric Shellhouse. We had Brian Hauk, who joined us in the broadcast, who was in sales. 1-2 pitch foul tip, and the count remains 1-2. We had Stevie Bowen join us for a couple of innings. We had Chris, a.k.a. Tanner Morris, who also joined us for a few innings. Jerron Nathan spent some time on the broadcast. And I apologize if I'm leaving anybody else off who joined, but it has been great to work with all of you. And the pitch, tap foul, third base side. I don't think we got Jacob Dunaway on the broadcast yet. If he ends up coming on, well, that would be great. One ball and 2 strikes on Carlos Castro, with 1 away in the bottom of the 9th inning. 1 run in for the Long Island Ducks. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, pitch is low in the dirt, and Carlos Castro strikes out. Ryan Haug fires to first, and there are 2 away. Now just 1 out away for Dalton Geeky to complete franchise history for the Blue Crabs. Most wins in a single season at 83. That's what the Blue Crabs are shooting for as Vladimir Frias, the 7-hitter, digs in from the left side. And those rowdy fans continue to get up on their seats and start chanting. Pitches popped up, third base side, and foul ground. Santiago Chirino gets there, makes the catch, and the Blue Crabs have made franchise history tonight. Their 83rd win of the year as they break the previous record of 82 wins in a season. Blue Crabs moved to 83 and 45 tonight. The bats were going throughout the evening. 8 runs on 12 hits tonight. We'll run you through the box score, the pitcher's lines, and the scoring plays in tonight's ball game. Let's start with the box scores here for Southern Maryland. Sundberg was 1 for 3 tonight, had 2 runs. He walked twice. His hit streak is up to 7 consecutive games. Michael Wolanski 2 for 4. He had an RBI. He scored 2 runs. He also walked once. Jared Walker 2 for 5 tonight. He finishes the series with the Long Island Ducks 8 for 15. He had 4 hits in game 1, was 4 for 5, was 2 for 5 in game 2, and 2 for 5 here in game 3. His batting average up to 240 on the year. David Harris 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs tonight. Joe DeLuca had an RBI. He walked once, and he was 3 for 3 on the evening. Zach Collier 1 for 5 with an RBI, while Santiago Chirino was 2 for 5 with a run score. Ryan Haug 0 for 3. He did score a run. Michael Baca 0 for 3. He did add an RBI. Jack Sundberg stole 2 bases, his 44th and 45th. Glad to see if he can make that push toward 50 before the end of the year. Michael Wolanski stole his 6th base of the year, while Daryl Thompson got the start for the Blue Crabs on the mound. He moves to 15 and 4 with a win. 6 innings, 8 hits. He allowed just 1 run. He walked 1. He struck out 2. Connor Law, 1 inning of work. It was a 1-2-3 inning for Law, while Dalton Geeky went 2 innings. He allowed 2 hits, 1 run. He did not walk a batter. It was a solo shot off the bat of Jose Sermo.
It's always a highlight of my night when you all let me be a part of your family.
Well, let's bring you through the scoring plays in today's ballgame. An 8-2 win for Southern Maryland. It was David Harris who hit a sacrifice fly that brought in Jack Sundberg. A throwing error from Chris Cepeda on a pickoff move allowed Michael Wolanski to score. He threw to first base and no one was covering, so that brought home another run. Davidson Romero, he got a run back on an RBI single to left field, scoring lead LJ Mazzilli. On the top of the second inning, Michael Baca hit a sacrifice fly to give the Blue Crabs a 3-1 lead. Zach Collier tripled on a line drive to left. That made it 4-1 Blue Crabs. In the top of the 7th, David Harris, a single on a ground ball to left. That made it 5-1 Southern Maryland. Joe DeLuca hit a sacrifice fly to left, made it 6-1 Southern Maryland. An RBI double from Jack Sundberg in the top of the 8th gave the Blue Crabs an 8-1 lead, a 7-1 lead, and then on the next batter it was Michael Wolanski who hit an RBI double to left as well. That gave the Blue Crabs an 8-1 lead. Jose Sermo's 4th home run cut it to 8-2 for your final score. Well, that will do it from us here on Long Island. We thank you all for tuning in tonight. We'll be back with you in Lancaster tomorrow. The Southern Maryland Blue Crabs pick up a franchise record 83rd victory on the season. Have a terrific night, everybody. We finish every broadcast the same with Let's Go Blue Crabs.